We are tonight's entertainment.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Excellent!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Movie Mania podcast. I'm the host, Sherman Trey White of Podcast Media, and joining me are the men, the myths, the legends, Disney signs the paychecks, Trilbee, and Bandit. Do-do-do-do.
Thank you, Mr. Orangutan Christopher Walken.
Kid, I got
that banana
podcasts.
over there.
My podcast's got podcasts.
I want to Skype like you. Ooh, 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 ooh.
That is unbelievably addictive, all those songs, isn't it? I've been rubbing myself up against trees going, the bare necessities.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It sounds really creepy when I say it, doesn't it?
Eating all the plant, eating all the ants underneath all the rocks. Yeah, and stay through
Kidnapping
the
small
credits.
children to get them to go and get honey for me. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds really
Walking
creepy.
over the kids, telling them to trust in you and climb the tree with them, and I'll keep you nice and safe.
Don't mind me, just calling the police.
That's Disney. Wonderful, magical movies, but then when you really think about them, they're very creepy. Yeah, that's
Oh my god, yeah.
that's Disney
All right.
through and through.
Okay, hey guys, how have you guys been doing?
Good. I was just saying to Trilby just before you arrived that now it's been my turn to move house, and just realised this room's really echoey, so I've been throwing mattresses and pillows all over the walls and propping them up. Do I sound okay?
You sound fine, and I guess we
Ironically, you
should
sound
reiterate-
clearer than usual.
Yeah.
We should reiterate that we are not all moving in together, because I feel like there are some people that might still think that, because we all talk about moving house at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm actually moving house in 2 weeks, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So we're still moving to Greece like we planned.
Yeah.
I think that was the joke.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. Cannonball!
Alright guys, so this is the movie news. For starters, we got a few trailers released this week. Let's talk about the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them trailer came out. Trilby, you're a big Harry Potter fan, so I'll let you take this one.
This is my most anticipated film for all of 2016. I cannot wait for this. Harry Potter is everything to me. It is love. It is life. And this trailer, I liked it. I kind of wish they'd shown more, that they'd gone a bit bigger for it. And I don't like how reserved it looks. Like, obviously that might be great and understated in the film, but in terms of selling it, we've had 8 of these films. I feel like they've got to push the envelope a bit more than they're currently doing. It looks good. Eddie Redmayne looks charming as hell. But I just think that they really should be showing more at this stage.
I've got some concerns. Concerns after seeing these trailer. One concern, my mom's singing outside. One concern is that, for one, we still haven't seen any of the beasts. We've seen one, and it looks fine. But especially after seeing Jungle Book, I'm really excited to see, because as the Harry Potter films went along, the CG definitely got better. I mean, by the end, Dobby looks basically like a real thing, and so I'm excited to see how what these creatures are going to look like. How expansive we're going to get to see this world, because this movie looks really small, and the story doesn't seem like a small scale. Like, it's a guy taking this case of magical beast into the Wizarding World of New York. That sounds like a really kind of bigger movie. And I don't know I don't know.
Can I ask, as the only one on the podcast that's never seen a Harry Potter movie?
Shame.
You have got a big homework assignment. You've got a dissertation.
I'm not against it. I'll check it out. Yeah, but I'm sure some of our listeners don't follow Harry Potter. Can you just explain? So this is a spin-off, but it's not following any one of the specific characters? Is it?
How this works is that it's set about 70 or so years before. Essentially, in the Harry Potter franchise, he found they have a book in that franchise, and the book's called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, written by a guy named Newt Scamander. And this is
He's in Hufflepuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it tells his story. It's set 70 years before the events of the first Harry Potter, so it's set in the 30s or 20s, something like that. So if my math works out correctly, and so it tells that guy's story. It's a spin-off / prequel. I think they're going the Rogue One route, I guess if you want to say, of telling a story back in time. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, because J.K. Rowling wrote the 7 Harry Potter books, and outside of those, she also wrote some, because it takes place in Hogwarts, this wizarding school, she wrote some like authentic textbooks that so you could own books that the students in Hogwarts would own. There's a Quidditch history book, there's this Beasts book, and there's quite a few others. So this Fantastic Beasts isn't really a book, it's more of a textbook that has been adapted into a film based on the author of that book in this fictional universe. It's confusing, but it's not based on an actual story.
So hang on, so it's based off a fictional book in the movie universe, or they're actually
Yes.
J.K. Rowling wrote a book called Search for Beasts or whatever it's called.
It's so confusing to explain.
So she didn't actually write this.
J.K. Rowling wrote the book and credited as Newt Scamander, and J.K. Rowling wrote the screenplay for the movie. It's confusing to explain to somebody.
Okay, yeah.
Here's how. Here's the best way I could say.
I give up. It's fine.
No, I mean, like, we can like, I can figure this out.
Yeah, do it better than me.
In the Harry Potter universe, there is a book, a textbook, because as you know, the kids go to school. In the Harry Potter universe, there is a textbook called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Well, J.K. Rowling decided to make that actual textbook in the real world. She wrote an actual textbook called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. They are now adapting that textbook. That sound any better?
So,
Okay.
But it's written as if it was like a real textbook, not
Yes.
so much that's cool, that's clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so they're
All
turning that textbook into a movie. I was like, you got it?
I concur.
Yay! We got it,
textbook-
Trilby.
I try not to complicate it anymore, but the textbook isn't a story, it's just like an anthology of different creatures and describing their attributes and how dangerous they are and where you can find them and stuff.
It's a textbook. It's a textbook. I mean, essentially, if you had a textbook on magical creatures, it's what you. I haven't per se read the whole thing. I read bits and pieces of it in an HEB once, but that's a story.
And Eddie Redmayne's character in this film is the author of that book in the Harry Potter universe, Newt Scamander.
And I guess the story of this book is about how he snuck magical creatures into New York City, and what happens when he accidentally opens that case and they all get out, or opens the case and they get out. So yeah, and it comes out in November. And I think you don't need to have prior knowledge of the Harry Potter films to go and see this one. They do mention Albus Dumbledore in this trailer, but I think my issue with this trailer is that, like I said, the creatures don't look as... We haven't seen anything. The movie comes out in, 6 months, and we still haven't seen anything, so I'm a little concerned, but that's whatever. I have faith
I'm thinking wait until August, and then we'll get the true, visual experience that I'm sure this movie is going to be. I just have no evidence to base that on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, just sugar coffee. All right, so is that that's all the Fantastic Beasts talk? Because you got another trailer here.
Ooh, what do we got?
All right, the next trailer we got here is for Suicide Squad, the Blitz trailer, or as I call it, the Will Smith is So 90s trailer. I don't know if you guys saw this or Let's Fancy Movie Awards, because I don't know what Will Smith is thinking he's doing, but Will Smith, it is 2016. Independence Day was definitely 20 years ago. Yeah. You're definitely stuck in 1997. So when you say the line, y'all jokers are crazy, I'm like, you're not in a Tyler Perry movie. What are you doing? I don't know.
But what if he breaks into a Men in Black sort of dance style theme song at the end of Suicide Squad? Would you like that?
In the end credits,
come the Suicide Squad committing suicide. I don't know.
It's already better than Nod Your Head.
Everybody hated that song.
I loved it as a kid, but now it's like, what was I thinking? And I'll admit that.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing with this trailer is that it's kind of tempered my hope for the film a little bit, because I really like I said, I really love that Bohemian Rhapsody trailer. I really like that trailer. I thought that was a great trailer, and I also really like the Comic-Con trailer. This trailer, I don't know. I really wasn't feeling this trailer. I don't know. I think the Joker, when I first saw the Joker picture, as you all may know, I flipped out. I was not a fan. I'm like, what are they doing? Why are they turning Joker into Deant Wood? What is this? That's the band from Chappie, if you guys don't know. And when you saw him in the trailer, like, oh, okay, he's actually the New 52 Joker. I like this. And now the more I see it, the less I'm liking it. I think Jared Leto's doing it fine. I'm not... Something's not clicking with me. I don't know.
Don't destroy my hopes.
I'm sorry.
Look, it's a DC movie where Zack Snyder is not directing and David Goyer is not writing. What more do you want?
with this, my issue with this trailer is that it's a fine trailer, but when you do the last trailer with Bohemian Rhapsody, arguably one of the greatest songs of all time, where else do you go? I feel like this trailer hasn't offered anything new. It's not built any more anticipation.
Jackson.
I think Thriller or Bad. Bad would be a really good music choice. Instead, we've got Ballroom Blitz and You Don't Own Me. I think that's the name of the song. But I don't know. Something's just not clicking with this trailer. Maybe because I was expecting a little bit more. I don't know.
I'm really trepidatious about the Joker. I don't know what to say. As a big Batman
if the Joker,
guys.
If the Joker is terrible in this, don't worry. We've still got that R-rated cartoon Killing Joke adaptation with Mark Hamill.
Yes.
We've still got that at least.
So ready.
I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
They released like a 10-minute preview. Like I think it was last week or the week before. That 10 minutes of footage with interviews. That was such a good look at the film.
Oh, I didn't even know. I'm going to go look that up when we're done with the podcast.
What was I'm so ready for that monologue where he talks about the guys on the roof at the end, and Batman snaps his neck. I'm so ready. Oh, okay. All right. So,
but the monologue when he's going through the fun house and asking why he's not laughing, I'm sure Mark Hamill is going to kill it.
Well, they talked about it, and they said, we're going on a little tangent, but whatever. They talked about it in that featurette Bandit, and Mark Hamill said, this is the most vile he's ever seen the Joker, and that's really intriguing to me because even in like the other animated films that Mark Hamill has done the voice for, he's done some pretty what he did to Tim Drake in Return of the Joker is pretty messed up, so. Yeah. But then again, if you write the Killing Joke, you know just how far Joker goes in this story, and it's so great. I'm really excited. I looked at the motion comic again last week. Some guy needs to get a really good motion comic, and he put together like different scores from like the Dark Knight soundtrack, and it's really good. But that's beyond the point. Since Disney since Disney pays for us to talk good about their movies, Doctor Strange looks really cool. The Doctor Strange trailer. It looks great.
It does. It's like it looked really good, but it was not at all what I was expecting, because I was expecting like just the normal sort of Marvel trailer of like, here's a bit of action, now we make a funny joke.
Like, you can be special, and all that great stuff, but no, this
and then the music cuts and someone makes a funny joke and then title, like all the other trailers. But no, this was kind of like, they really cranked up the strangeness of Doctor Strange, and it was very Inception-like. And I think it's it's refreshing that we're getting a bit of something new in the Marvel Universe. I really liked it. What did you guys think?
Well, trust me when
Oh, you go on, Trey. You go.
Well, trust me when I say this. Marvel's doing just fine, but we'll get to that later. But I think what I like most about this trailer is that Benedict Cumberbatch's, or I'll just call him the Batch of Cumber, his lovely American accent sounds just like Dr. House from the TV show. But like I think my favorite part of this trailer is when she punches him into astral projection. I don't know a lot about Doctor Strange, but I know he can do that. And so I love like just how right away they tell you this is not going to be Ant-Man or the Avengers. This is everyone else. It's science-based. This is straight up magic. None of that fake science mumbo jumbo. No, this is straight up magic. The weird Inception building folding and that cape shot at the end. Go ahead, Chubby. You were saying.
I was actually, because this is from Scott Derrickson, who normally does horror films. I was actually expecting the opposite of what you guys were. I was expecting something darker, more horror, more, well, maybe not horror, but just something a bit more off kilter. And I'm not saying that what we got here was bad. I like what we got. I needed to watch it again just to adjust my expectations as to what we were actually getting here. But I think we have to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that Benedict Bramble-Patch is going to do a really good job. I don't know if that Benedict Bramble-Patch. I think that his American accent. It's a bit distracting because I'm just so used to his received pronunciation. And my concern with Doctor Strange is that when you compare his origin story and characteristics to Tony Stark, very similar. Two egotistic people with great facial hair get injured somewhat, so they have to work their way up, and it seems very similar in the broad strokes.
They have to learn humility. They have a physical injury that reminds them of their mortality. It's very similar.
It's similar, but it's all in the presentation, because Iron Man was presented as, it's fun, it's awesome, it's funny, it's Tony Stark. This seems more like, I feel like with Tony Stark, he was a douche, but he was like, you still liked watching him on screen. Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange pre-accident is not likable. This from what I've read. He's not a nice guy. He's not really the cool guy. He's more of he's the rich a-hole. I think there's going to be a difference there. But I think the reason I think Trilby that we didn't get straight up Scott Derrickson off-kiltered kind of, strange horror-esque that you're looking for, that I think they have to ease the audience into it. If they all they needed right now was to see that, you can't have this weird, bald, should have been Asian Matrix lady, punch Benedict Cumberbatch in an astral projection, or you can't have this weird Inception-esque building fold over scene. They needed
that's such a gorgeous shot.
They need to let people know what this is before they, or when she like puts her hand on his head, on his forehead, and he gets sucked into the dimension from Interstellar. So they need to ease people into the world first.
I did think also, though, I did think also that, as Bane would say, for the uninitiated, watching this trailer, people might not really sort of get what it's about. Because it wasn't totally clear that, okay, he's in an accident and then goes out searching for a cure. Okay. It's kind of clear. But yeah, I'd be interested for the uninitiated to see what they think.
Well, think about the Ant-Man trailer or the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer when they first came out.
At least with those, you understand what's going on. Like,
if you go back and
watch,
a
guy who shrinks and he has to get something to.
Well, the average audience they didn't give that off in the first trailer. All we saw was, there's ants and it's a heist, or it might be heist and Michael Douglas is old, and then Guardians of the Galaxy is just like they're criminals. And then, that's the trailer.
Yeah, but at least in the first trailer, he's like, I want to be a good father for my daughter. And then he's like, I want you to break into a place and steal some stuff. So you at least know what it's about. But I think for the uninitiated with Doctor Strange, it seemed, they'd be like, okay, so a guy has an accident that's maybe a car accident, you can't really see, and then goes to Tibet for some reason. They'd be like, what? But who cares? It's the batch of combo. People will just be like,
all you really need to do, you need to have, all you needed was, one line of, if, after he's like, I don't believe in chakras or anything like that, all you have to do is add one line of, this is my last shot, and then show him walking to the temple or whatever. That's all you really, but that's neither here nor there. It's probably going to be in the movie. I really enjoyed the trailer. I want to see what's coming next. Kevin Feige is probably, from what I've heard, is one of the biggest Doctor Strange fans out there, and he's been trying to get this movie made since before the MCU was a thing. So I'm sure he's not going to let this movie suck. And after Civil War, I have high hopes.
But also, just one more thing. I love the poster that we got. Because there was one that was just him at the top of the stairs with the cape. And then, a day later, they had that one when Benedingo Brumblecrunch or whatever has got his fingers up. And you can see through the fingers. It's a cool teaser poster. And I'd love to have that on my wall.
I didn't see that one. I'll have to look that one up as we're talking.
Oh yeah, you've got to see it. It's such a cool poster.
Have you seen that picture that came out of Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's it's all the different movie posters he's been on. I think it was Intimidation Game, Sergeant and Doctor Sinis, and it was Ben, turn around. He's like, no. He's like, you need to see your face in the shot. He's like, no, and it just shows all the movie posters of him standing.
Everyone is just his face, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, of him looking at standing epically at a giant wall with something else in the background. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next story we got here. Oh wait, but before we move on, I really do need to touch on this. Why is it that they took an Asian character and turned it into Tilda Swinton? I mean, Tilda Swinton's a great actress, sure, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they need to do Mandarin, Ching Chong Ling Long, incredibly racist character, but whitewashing. Marvel, you're better than this. What do you what if they're
That's the difficult thing, because on the one hand, they're changing an elderly Tibetan man into a middle-aged white woman, so it's whitewashing, but maybe it's pro-feminist, so you got your diversity quota for all the SJWs out there.
Well, then just make it an Asian woman. Make it the chick from the Wolverine, the one that helps out Hugh Jackman. Make her the Asian one there. Simple as
all due respect to Tilda Swinton, you don't get much whiter than Tilda Swinton. I think she's awesome.
They even shaved her head so you can see more skin.
More white.
She's a female.
They made her a white skinhead. There you go.
She's a female David Bowie, essentially. You look at her and David Bowie, God rest his soul. They look very similar. That's not I'm not saying that
David Bowie too.
I would love to
totally
see her.
could.
I would love to see her play David Bowie. My problem isn't that she's not a great actor. She's great. She's one of the best parts of Hail Caesar. My problem, I just posted that poster, Trilby. It looks great. My problem is that they took it's like if they said we're going to take the character of I don't know Falcon and make him a white guy. I'm like, well, no, because everyone would be calling racism at that point. But no one seems to care right now because they made her a woman. But that's whatever. Neither here nor there. Let's move on. Rant over.
Yeah, but there has been a lot of that recently with Ghost in the Shell and Scarlett Johansson and everything, and everyone's saying Rinko Kikuchi from Pacific Rim was right there. And there was even news stories for Ghost in the Shell, where apparently, allegedly, not confirming, apparently that the studio behind Ghost in the Shell actually did some behind-the-scenes test on Scarlett Johansson's face to CGI her to make her look more Japanese.
They want to Sean Connery her for in You Only Live Twice. You Only Live Twice. Whenever this puts some tape on his face.
Well, remember what Ridley Scott said when he made his last terrible movie, Gods of Egypt, before he's going to make his next terrible movie, Alien Covenant. But back then, because he changed all the Egyptians to white guys.
It might be great. There's no Lindelof. It might be great.
No, it won't be.
And Martian was great.
That was Drew Goddard, though. That wasn't Ridley Scott. But keep going.
Remember Ridley Scott, like the crazy racist drunk grandpa that he is, was
he does look like one.
Yeah, he's like, well, if I want to get people to invest in the movie, if the main star is played by some guy who's called Muhammad such and such from wherever, no one's going to invest. That
wasn't Ridley Scott. That was the producer of the movie. I forgot his name, but I thought
that was Ridley Scott.
I heard that was the producer, too. But either way, he still endorsed the movie. But whatever, I see what you're saying.
The point is, you need to have that name recognition to get a movie off the ground. And Ghost in the Shell for general audiences is already a strange enough concept. You need the security of a big name that people recognize, like Scarlett Johansson.
Here's the thing, though. We just had the Jungle Book open to nearly 300 million worldwide, and yes, I know that the kid who's playing Mowgli is not really the real star, and it's a big CGI blockbuster. That's the thing. It's names of the brand, not necessarily the actors that open films now. Ant-Man is a big hit. Ant-Man.
But Ghost in the Shell is not a well-known property here in the States. At least to the general public. Jungle Book has been around for 50, 60 years. I think, granted, Neil Sethi, we'll get to him later on in the show. Granted, Neil Sethi is essentially the lead, and he's not a white kid. It's not like Jacob Tremblay to play him, which would have been so much better. But anyways, I feel like I'm more okay with them getting Scarlett Johansson to play the lead. I feel like the only way they could have done this is if they would have got, say, the chick from Pacific Rim. I might have forgot her name already, but say they get her to play her, and then they just get a bunch of well-known actors to play the side roles. But even then, you're still whitewashing somebody. That's what they did for the
original Batman and Superman films. They got relative unknowns or smaller names to play the main heroes, and then they bolstered the supporting cast with big names.
Well, yeah. So I'm saying, with Doctor Strange, it feels off to me that I'm gonna go into this movie knowing that they had an Asian character played by a white person, especially in today's age. It bothers me, but I'm sure I'll get past it. I'm sure it's gonna be great. I suppose
at the same time, you have to ask though, unless the character being a certain ethnicity is really important to the story, does it even really matter?
Well,
shouldn't you just go for the best actor?
Well, Falcon being black doesn't have anything to do with the story, but if they were to say Sam Wilson is cast in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and he's being played by James McAvoy or some other white actor, people would freak out because they're like, you're taking roles away from black actors. You're making a black character and turning him white. I feel like it's the same thing here. Granted,
Black Panther has to be black because he's famous as the first Black Panther.
Well, I'm talking about Falcon.
I thought you were talking about Black Panther.
Sorry, no, Black Panther definitely needs to be. He's an African.
See, Falcon you could turn him white and it wouldn't matter because it's not important to his character. But Black Panther needs to be black.
Well, the Asian one. Sorry.
Oh boy, we're gonna get letters about that one.
You know what? I'm close enough here. Moving on. Okay.
One fun, Baron Mordo is white in the comics. He's been played by Chiwetel Ejiofor here. You have had Heimdall from Thor being played by Idris Elba. Obviously it's not the same, but Marvel do have a tendency
And
to
Wong,
change
Wong is a
races.
Chinese guy, and he's played by a Chinese guy. He's
That's awesome.
granted,
That's
the
great.
character is basically Doctor Strange's servant, but
Exactly.
Yeah,
who cares?
It's
He's
like-
still
Not
right.
My issue is just I don't want this to become. I don't feel like people are ignoring this when they really shouldn't. When people are freaking out about Ghostbusters and the Oscars, I feel like people should be a bit more concerned about big budget Marvel blockbusters. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. But as much as I care about the Doctor Strange fiasco with Tilda Swinton, you know what I don't care about?
What?
Avatar 2, 3, or 4. I really,
And
really
5.
don't. And that's right. They just announced.
Because
If
James
you guys
Cameron has
didn't know.
announced there's going to be 4 of them. Aren't
Yeah,
you
but-
excited?
No,
not really.
I'll see the second.
There was
one, I
much
guess.
rejoicing.
The
Now-
last time when Avatar came out, 3D was considered an exciting thing. That's how long ago it was that Avatar came out.
Now,
Oh,
here's the thing. I'm sorry. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so when James Cameron was doing Titanic, at least from what I've read online, people were kind of dissing, like, what, a boat movie? And then it came out and became the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
And then he started doing Avatar, be like, what, the Blue Cat movie? That looks ridiculous. And then it became the biggest movie of all time. So I'm not going to doubt that James Cameron has something up his sleeve with Avatar 2. That just so that I'm like, it's James Cameron. He has not made a bad film. He's not made a terrible film. He hasn't made Batman v Superman since what? I don't know. I like The Abyss. So I don't think he's ever made a terrible movie. So
I have
I have
noticed,
faith.
like, he's obviously hit on a winning formula, but I've noticed that with a lot of his biggest movies, part of that formula involves having some kind of gimmick. Like with Avatar, it was the 3D. With Titanic, again, it was the special effects.
Yeah.
And like back when Peter
T2.
Jackson was making the Hobbit movies and he was experimenting with 48 frames a second, James Cameron was looking at that. So thing is, for the next Avatar, I don't know if he's going to have sort of a special effects gimmick thing to go with it. So it'll be interesting to see how much that affects sort of the pull and the hype of it. But hey, I'm sure he knows what he's doing.
He's spent the last 20 years in underwater, so I'm sure he's going to be doing something that has to do with the water. Apparently, this one's going to have a big underwater vibe. So in 2018, it's going to be Aquaman and Avatar 2 for underwater movie. Can you believe that we're getting an Avatar 2 9 years after the first one? Are you serious? Like, come on,
It's like
man.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding too. It's like it's a bit late,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's right.
But like when it comes,
he's tied with. Go ahead, Julie, go ahead.
But when it comes to this, there was an interview that broke like maybe an hour or two before we started recording this, where he says that he's not shooting them back to back. It's going to be one huge project. Like on Monday, he'll do a scene from movie 4. On Tuesday, he'll do a scene from movie 1, and it'll be like doing a huge mini series, like an 8-hour big budget mini series. And he says it's a saga. It's like doing all 3 Godfather films at the same time. So he's comparing his Avatar series to The Godfather.
I think.
filming's even
That
really
means
proper gotten
that means
away.
eventually you're going to get Godfather 3. So I mean, this is all my issue is that my issue is with Avatar 3, 4, and 5. I have no idea. Look, if you want to do a trilogy of Avatar films, that's fine. But 4 is where when like I remember a couple years ago he's like 4 is going to be a prequel. I'm like, what are you talking? Make the first 3. He's first, James, please. And then, and he's talking about doing 5. I'm like, stop it. Just give us Avatar 2. Stop trying to make 8-hour epics and just give us Avatar 2. I'm sure you're excited to show off your new technology, but hurry up before that technology becomes obsolete. Like, if his new technology is like, I don't know, 3D without glasses, that'd be great. But do that before someone else goes around and makes that movie, and your movie becomes obsolete. So that's actually a really smart idea. 3D without
Have
glasses.
either of you lot seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Just scratch my lip. Just scratch. Yes.
I know it's random, but I feel like we need to get the guy who gives the holy hand grenade to Arthur. We need to get him talking to James Cameron, saying, "No, you do not do 4, nor 2, nor 5 Avatar sequels. 5 is right out.
5 is right out.
3 is the number you should do, and the number of sequels shall be 3." Like,
If you do 5,
many
he
sequels.
shall snuff it.
And the Lord did grin, and the people did feast upon the lambs, the sloths, and the carp, and the anchovies, and the orangutans. Love that film.
What will the reception of Avatar 6 be like? I don't know that. Whoosh, flies off the bridge.
It's just James Cameron walking around like clinking Oscars together. And
Okay, that's it. You can walk around.
clink, 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 clink. Just clinking Oscars together.
What have we
No one
done?
here cares. No one-
I didn't think you'd be able to draw a parallel between those two movies, but there you go, Trilby, you managed to do
That's
it.
why I'm here. I'm checking out now. I've peaked in my career.
One last story here, guys. As we know, Spider-Man, they've officially announced the title of the new movie. It's
Yeah.
called Spider-Man Homecoming.
Great title.
I'm not sure if we talk about
really good. I like it. A little on the nose, but who cares?
that. I see
Spider-Man doesn't
as
have a nose, so it doesn't matter.
as a teenager in high school,
Terrible jokes.
you know, Homecoming was like 3 months ago. So like, I know that I hear this and I just think like, is the sequel going to be called Spider-Man Winter Formal? You know, Spider-Man Sadie's Hawking. So it's like, you know,
I don't even know what Homecoming actually is, but I just know I get, the pun that he's back with Marvel. I get it.
see, that's what that. Oh, see, I don't want to give any spoilers. Okay, well, you tell you what.
What exactly is Homecoming with U.S. schools? Is that just when you have to go back from school after a holiday?
Yeah, it's like it's the first dance when you get back when school starts up again. It's the first dance back.
First
so I guess they call it. Yeah, do you know what like a school dance? You know what a school dance is, don't you?
Oh, yeah, like from Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's like
I was going to say, like Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some dances get really intense. I won't lie. Like there was one dance back a couple years. Don't worry about it. Anyways,
See, again, I'm imagining Christopher Walken as the orangutan, yeah.
that's me. That's me at all dances. I want to be like you. Ooh, 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 ooh. That was me. at all the
Christopher
dances.
Walken to crash
I
every
just meant because
dance ever.
Christopher Walken dances in every movie. Even when he's a CGI orangutan, he still dances.
Oh my god, he's great. We'll get to him later. But yeah, that's the title of the movie. Whatever, tangent. There's a rumor going around. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
Joey.
you go first. You go first.
Well,
Sorry.
there's a rumor going around about who the villain might be in the film, and apparently they're looking at it it's the Vulture.
I
And
thought
right
they'd go
now the
Venom.
biggest. Well, I mean, I guess since they're doing that Venom movie that they're apparently doing with Avi Arad for some reason, I guess they're trying to say, I don't know, maybe I think they should save Venom for later on, but that's just me. But I think, and right now, Marvel's looking towards actor Michael Keaton to portray Vulture. Why they don't get John Malkovich, I have no idea, but that's whatever.
What's
that's neither here nor there.
Vulture's deal? Is he...
He's an old guy with wings. That is
That's
literally
all
it.
I know. That's
Okay.
all I know. Wasn't he his first villain, or was that might be thinking of someone else?
So
But
he's
I'm
like
pretty
Dr.
sure,
Octopus, except with wings instead of tentacles.
I suppose. I honestly don't know much about the Vulture. All I know is that is right now the lead villain for the new Spider-Man movie, Homecoming. I more want to talk about the
Sounds like
title.
a terrible villain.
But he's the second oldest Spider-Man villain.
Peter Parker takes on his geometry teacher, the Vulture. Yeah.
But I think
Make
Michael
it a time
Keaton
for
would.
the Homecoming dance. Yeah.
I think Michael Keaton would be terrific. But I just don't like the idea of him being wasted on Vulture. I'd love to see him like maybe have a regular supporting role in the cinematic universe as opposed to just a one-shot villain.
Yeah.
And now that he's a Marvel, he's going to be killed in the first movie, so it doesn't really matter now, doesn't it?
Fun times.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
we got some news like an hour ago that Tony Revolori from the Grand Budapest Hotel, who played the lobby boy, he's been added to the cast.
Oh, okay. I guess he could be like.
I think he's going to be playing just like a
wacky
classmate or
best
something.
Yeah, the wacky best friend. Even though, all right, I'm down. I'm down for that. Or have him play Mary Jane. I'm down for that too. Yeah, just get him
I
in
think it's more
ginger
gender
wig.
swapping.
There you go. There you go. Get more diversity in Hollywood. Yeah,
It
okay,
makes
I'm down.
sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense. Sign those
But
paychecks. Okay.
But at the same event where they announced Spider-Man Homecoming, they announced that the Men in Black 23 Jump Street crossover is happening, and it makes me
I'm
sad.
so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm
That sounds like a
excited
great
too.
idea. Like, you have Channing Tatum and
Just-
Jonah
just me,
Hill,
then.
and it's Ice Cube, and it's just like, you two SOBs are going to the Men in Black Academy. It just cuts to those two just, like, training to fight aliens. I'm so ready.
I think
If
that's
they're that
fantastic.
upfront
That is
about
so
it.
great.
if they're that upfront about it, I'm game. But I think they'll play it straight to a fault.
Nah, they can't.
Hope.
There's no way.
What's the point of putting it in
This
if
is
they're
Sony.
going to be playing it straight?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they don't have Phil Lord and Chris Miller, which is definitely going to be a downgrade because those two are kind of the reason those movies are so successful. But I guess if they keep the same writers as the second movie, you can really do something great here. And I think James Bobbin, when he has some good material, he can make some good stuff. I think he did the first Muppet movie, so I'm excited. I have faith in these two stars. They're really funny.
Yeah, actually, I remember in the last Men in Black. Remember how Will Smith goes back in time and there's Josh Brolin playing the young Tommy Lee Jones. And
Yes.
at the end of the movie, when Will Smith goes forward again, like I thought they were going to bring Josh Brolin forward with him, so that there's old and young Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith all in the same thing.
I love that.
But they didn't, and they had there was a real obvious opportunity where they could have done it, and they didn't. And I was like, oh, what a waste! You could have had Tommy Lee Jones running Men in Black, and then Will Smith's got a young partner though. You could do all kinds of comedy with them being the same guy, but I guess that won't happen.
I feel like I'm one of the only guys that actually likes Men in Black 3. I really enjoyed it.
I liked it
I know
too.
a lot of people crap on that movie. I don't know.
But it has the guy from Flight of the Conchords in it.
He's really good, isn't he? Jermaine Clement. I think Joey must be seething with rage right now. He's been silent. So
He might have muted his mic. I was doing that before when I was coughing and sneezing and all that.
I am also coughing and sneezing. It is allergy season right now. We've gotten a lot of rain where I'm at, and holy good God, I've coughed at least for 30 seconds worth of podcast time this episode, and I'm also very tired. I think that's all the movie news we have here after you got on that terrible tangent. You still there, Trilby?
I'm here, just
Okay.
lamenting a Jump Street Men in Black crossover. Who would you want to play the two Men in Black agents? Because they're not going to get Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh,
Who would you
really?
want as replacements?
Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum.
Parallel universe.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
just
what they're
have
doing,
them in
isn't
it then.
I feel like that's what they were going for with crossing these franchises over. I mean, how would you cross them over and not have this take on it?
I thought you'd get
I thought
the
it was
two
gonna
Jump
be all
Street
four of them.
cops, and then you'd get two Men in Black Men in Black
There's-
agents, and you'd
There's
get a
no
foursome.
way. There's no way you can get Tommy Lee Jones back in
no.
a Men in Black. No way. No
Okay,
way you're gonna
how
get him
about
back.
Josh Brolin, and who else can they get for the Men in Black agent? Get Josh Brolin and somebody else.
Josh Brolin and generic black guy number 7. Just walk by a Tyler
Yeah.
Perry set.
Oh,
and
Will
take
Smith.
one of
Yes.
Jaden Smith.
Josh Brolin and Jaden Smith. and he's constantly tweeting and making comments about why babies are the most intelligent things on the planet and how can you bake cookies but you can't cook bacon. So, just
God, it's so... Oh, it reminds me of me when I was 3.
reminds me of when I left in my
Okay,
diaper when I was
right.
1.
Advice to anyone who wants to get into creating, writing, anything artistic. After you get past 16, throw away everything you've ever written. Because I
Before
can
that, yeah.
guarantee it'll be terrible. I guarantee it.
Okay. All right, I'll burn my... All right, bye, guys. I gotta go to burn this podcast down.
Burn everything.
All right.
That's
That ends
right,
my
because,
short-
yeah.
There's my short film I was
Up
working
until
on.
that point, you got teenager brain, and teenager brain is very different to adult brain. You never think the way you do when you're a teenager. So
a lot of the comments on
that's why they don't let you make giant life decisions when you still have teenager brain, because you're an idiot. We all realize that when we get older.
honestly, a lot of the comments I've gotten on my Walking Dead video, which by the way, thank you guys all for subscribing to my channel and watching the Walking Dead video. It was really awesome. I'm almost at 500 subscribers. It's crazy. But a lot of
What's
the
your
comments
channel
like
again, Trey?
Podcast Media. And to a lot of
I'm going to subscribe right now.
You're not subscribed yet? No, I'm kidding.
No, there we go. I am your 468th subscriber.
All right, I thought it was at 470.
Man, remember when I
Um,
when I subscribed to that motion comic guy, live on the podcast 2 weeks ago? It's like a
That's your
recurring
thing, you're a
segment.
live subscriber.
Live subscriber,
But, like,
breaking subscriptions. Me.
I got a lot of comments about people calling me self-pretentious and being like, "It's okay, guys. It's okay for him to have a separate opinion because he doesn't know what he's talking about yet." So I can't wait till I turn 20 and start liking Batman v Superman. I can't wait till The Walking Dead becomes a great show when I get older. I'm really excited, guys. It's gonna be a great time.
Did you notice there was
that-
one guy who was like, maybe maybe the show's just too intelligent for you. And then there's
Oh
like
my God.
20 comments of people going, too intelligent? Really? People
Sounds
are
like Batman v
you don't think they
Superman
understand
fans.
it? What's there to understand?
He must get his paycheck signed by Warner Brothers.
There was a super. We're going on another tangent, but there was a superb Reddit post where they counted how many lines of dialogue Superman has in Batman v Superman. Guess the number of lines he has in the movie.
26.
It's a bit more. It's
I'm gonna
43.
Oh, wow.
He has 43 lines of dialogue, and Lois Lane has like 200.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Really?
before you say that's a lot. Keep in mind it's a 2.5-hour movie. So like one page of script equals about 1 minute of movie. From what I've heard, I haven't made a movie, so I wouldn't know.
That is correct. That's conventional wisdom.
Yeah, so that's at least 150 to 40 to 50 pages of dialogue, and of those, 23 or 40 lines of that is Superman talking. So yeah, Zack Snyder, maybe have him talk more, because come on, man,
It reminds me how he like only had 1 or 2 lines of dialogue in all 3-4 of the trailers.
Wow.
I don't think it matters, because, like, Batman's supposed to be sort of, like, silent and deadly.
No, this is
Like
Superman
a
we're
fart,
talking.
yeah.
Superman.
This is Superman we're talking about, Bandit.
Oh, goddamn. What is with me this morning? I just can't focus.
This movie is the worst. God, this movie sucks. Alright, guys? Get over it, okay? Suicide Squad will be better, hopefully. Just get Zack Snyder off Justice League before he ruins Aquaman 2, and Aquaman becomes uncool again. God. Movie's trash. Alright. We had some homework.
What do you do?
This week, each one of you has a homework assignment. You're gonna go out, you're gonna start a fight with a total stranger. You're gonna start a fight, and you're gonna lose.
Okay, alright guys, so this is the homework segment in which we talk about some of the films we saw, some of the films we were supposed to see. Trilbee, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I saw probably something not many people have heard of, but I'll preach it anyway. Eye in the Sky, which
Helen
is
Mirren?
from the
Mirren?
Yes, Helen Mirren.
Yes.
It's from the director of the incredible X-Men Origins Wolverine and Ender's Game movie.
Gavin Hood.
But Gavin Hood. But this is actually really, really good. It's really refreshing that this movie comes a month after London Has Fallen, which was essentially pro-drone, pro-America, pro-war propaganda, because it approached the subject of drone warfare like dangerously simplistically. So Eye in the Sky does offer like both sides of the debate, because it is a controversial and complex subject which you need to treat as an adult. And Eye in the Sky, it's a real gripping black comedy at times. It's sometimes like grimly funny. It's really funny at points, but darkly so. Cast are terrific. Aaron Paul is probably the best that he's been outside of Breaking Bad. He gets a small role, but he really kills it. This is Alan Rickman's last on-screen role. He's got Alice Through the Looking Glass soon, but that's a voice role mainly. And it's a great last performance. And it's so Alan Rickman. His first scene in this movie had me in stitches, because only Alan Rickman can play it as well as he does. And I mean that sincerely. He does a great job, and he's really funny. Helen Mirren has just the presence you'd expect in this type of movie. It takes place mostly in real time, as they've got these 2 or 3 people who are on the most wanted list, and they're in this building I believe it's in Kenya. And they've got a drone overhead, and they realize that they've got suicide vests in this house, and that it's not a capture mission, it's now a kill mission, and they have to get authorization, but they've got a very limited amount of time, and it takes place in real time mostly, really intense, grip the armrest tense at times, just wanted to rip the thing off. But it's really smartly done, and it's got a great screenplay, really well edited. And I think it came out in America last year, so you may be able to get it on DVD or on demand somewhere. I highly recommend it.
It sounds pretty intense, and I like Ender's Game. I don't think it's terrible, and I do like a lot of I do like certain aspects in Wolverine Origins, but this does look good. And every time you were talking, all I thought was 10 points to the robots. Yeah, that's all every time you're talking Alan Rickman, the late and great Alan Rickman on screen. I'll check it out. Yeah,
they've even got a tribute to Alan Rickman at the end of the movie, like in loving memory of Alan Rickman, which was really nice. He's such a great talent. Like it's fitting that this movie came out this week in the UK because Ender's Game was broadcast. It had its broadcast debut on UK TV the other day. It's so boring. I don't remember it being that boring. It's not bad. It's just boring.
Well, that was before Harrison Ford cared again. So it's
yeah,
okay.
exactly. And there was Die Hard was on the other day as well, and I watched that. And Alan Rickman's so good in that film. Like it was his first breakout role. It's to be expected because it's like, oh, when you think of great villains, yeah, Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman, yeah, he's great. Even by those standards, he's still underrated in that film. Yeah. Terrific performance, loved him in it, and it's a great final performance in Eye in the Sky. Really good. All
right, I'm glad. All right, we'll definitely check it out. That's Eye in the Sky with Helen Mirren and Alan Rickman. I'm down. Oh, and Aaron Paul in a small role. I'm down. I'm always really intrigued by those Middle Eastern suicide bomber kind of movies. I think, as much hit as the Hurt Locker gets, those bomb scenes are very intense. Certain aspects of Zero Dark 30, while I'm not a big fan of that film, I really like a lot of the stuff about that. American Sniper, pretty much every scene set in the Middle East I'm a big fan of. It's really when he goes home I think the movie falls apart, but that's just me. But yeah, I'm always a big fan of those kind of movies, especially since it's our world.
Yeah, if you liked The Hurt Locker, then Eye in the Sky is very much a spiritual successor to that. It's like that, but obviously updated a couple of years in the future. It is modern warfare. This is how most wars are fought now, from the comfort of armchairs, global across the world, through screens, through drones. And the way the movie portrays that, it's scary, but it's effectively done.
Okay, well, I'll check it out when I get the chance. That might be in 3 months, but I'll check it out. All right, Bandit, you've been uncharacteristically quiet. So, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
I just heard doors and stuff in the background.
Yeah,
so I just thought Bandit was like, "Screw it, I'm leaving."
he's like, well, these guys are talking. I'm going to fly my own drone to the backyard.
There's a drone outside my house. I'm going.
It's a remote. You see a floating boomerang in the background. It's flying. All right. Did you see anything this week, Bandit?
Well, for my homework, I watched the old animated Disney Jungle Book that was made back in 1967. We could talk about that when we cover the feature presentation.
Oh, okay. Right,
to compare it with the new version. So I did homework, but I can't really talk about it yet.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. On Thursday, actually last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, I was on my computer and I was, got an email and it was like, enter to win tickets for Captain America Civil War. And I was like, okay, I'll enter the winner tickets. And I clicked on there. And it was like, thank you for clicking on this email. Here are your tickets for Captain America: Civil War. And I was just like, what? And so
I hate you. I hate you so much.
So on Thursday, after waiting in line for an hour and a half, I got in to see Marvel's Captain America: Civil War.
No spoilers, or I'll hunt you down and kill you with a boomerang.
I promise you guys, this is going to be very brief. I promise you, I will not give any spoilers to the movie. If you really don't want to know anything about the movie, in terms of even things that you've seen in the trailers, skip ahead. There's time codes below. I promise I will.
Is it better than Ant-Man?
Way better.
Is it better than Ant-Man? Ant-Man's the best.
Well, speaking, Trey, as a guy, since you hated Winter Soldier, and this was made by the same guys.
Don't hate Winter Soldier. I actually quite like it. The more I watch it, it's a movie that I think gets better with age.
It's okay, Trey. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and everybody thinks I hated it.
Same here. Okay, so this movie is incredible. I loved it. What really struck me with this, and I said this when that Super Bowl trailer came out, the stakes are so high. The stakes are as high as they have ever been in the MCU in this movie. And by the time the movie's over, the same way you felt when the Avengers came out, and you walked out of the theater and you said, "Oh my God, everything's different now." The way, not even like the MCU, the way superhero movies need to be made are different now. I feel like that is essentially what we got with Marvel's Civil War. Civil War, what the Russo brothers have done here, action-wise, more importantly, character-wise, because there are a lot of beats in the movie where we don't get a heck of a lot of action. It's a lot of character moments, it's a lot of actual depth. It's not just fun schlock. It's actual character development, it's actual talking, things are actually happening, and it's really well done the entire time. and there's about a 20-minute scene set in the airport that you see in the trailers. You have seen... Remember, Ben, when we saw the trailer, we were like, this doesn't look like a civil war. This is like civil argument or civil disagreement. No. This is a civil war.
Wow.
And there's... I going back to when I saw the first Avengers, you know, the scene... excuse me. It's like the scene where Iron Man is flying through the city in that kind of one tracking shot, or even the scene where Hulk's like, you know, I'm always angry, and then punches the thing, and then like all the Avengers line up and like do the circle shot. That 20-minute scene in the airport is essentially that circle shot, just times. It's so awesome. It really is just a constant, just splash page of like personality and action and character and so many surprises. It's so great. But the best part of this movie, without a doubt, without giving any spoilers, Spider-Man. Tom Holland is Spider-Man. This is Bandit. As someone I know that is not the biggest Spider-Man fan, you are going to love this Spider-Man. You are going to absolutely fall in love with the way they portray the Spider-Man. Black Panther was amazing.
So I take it Spider-Man's obviously got a sizable part of the movie then.
He's in it for about 20. He's in about 20 minutes or so, I guess.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah.
He's got about the same role, I guess you could say. I don't know. What can I compare this to? Kind of like he has essentially what Loki's role, not like story-wise, but like as long as Loki was on screen in Thor: The Dark World, about 20 minutes to half an hour. That's about as long as he's in this movie, and he's great for the entire run. Honestly, Trilby, everything you hate about Andrew Garfield is not in this movie with Tom Holland. Tom Holland is the perfect blend. He's bland. Oops. Oh, you can hear my paycheck being signed. No, he's a perfect blend of action and comedy and nerdy and geeky and awkward, and it's so awesome. But T'Challa, Black Panther is incredible. Stay after the credits. I love it. 9.4 out of 10. Let's move on. I love Civil War.
Oh, okay. Wow. Just one or two things, so I know, because I'm seeing this like next week. How many post credit scenes do I stay for the whole credits?
Okay. I
obviously.
I won't say obviously. All right. Batman shows up. No. Honestly.
What?
Could you imagine? No. There's when I went in my screening, there was only one. But keep in mind that Marvel shot the second Avengers post credit scene, the one where they're eating shawarma, a week before the premiere. In theaters.
Yeah.
So there might
one.
Yeah, they'll probably still have an extra one, especially with all these different actors and characters being around. There'll probably be a second one involving whatever there is. But yeah. All right. So is that
if you've seen it early, sometimes I just want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
boo boo. Boo boo. I know how it ends.
Cap wins.
I can't say anything.
But Trilby, he's your friend. So was I.
Oh God! The tears in this movie. Oh, the nerd tears and the actual tears were just this prevalent. I wore a nice suit when I went, and my God, it was just covered in popcorn and nerd tears and sweat. It was just filthy when it was over because, holy God, it was amazing.
Let me ask you one thing again, without giving specifics, but
of course,
before they like officially signed Spider-Man, from what we saw, it seemed like Black Panther was going to be the guy sort of in between the two sides. Now that they ended up getting Spider-Man in it, could you sort of see certain scenes with Spider-Man where you're like, I can see that was maybe originally going to be Black Panther doing this? Or, like, could you notice anything like that? Or
I can say this. In terms of characters that play the middle ground, that play kind of the tug of war between the two sides, there really isn't that kind of linchpin character in this movie. The movie takes, and I think that's what I like about this movie. The movie takes, in the same way they took the Ed Breaker Winter Soldier storyline, the movie takes certain aspects of the Civil War story in terms of the Captain America vs. Iron Man and the registration and all that. That's all there. But there are certain things that are it's not like Days of Future Past. No. There's still things, but like in terms of certain aspects that are iconic with this story, things are definitely taken out because that's not where the universe needs to be right now. So That's all I can say right now without giving anything away. Because the movie it's out in 2 weeks here in America, so we'll talk more about it when that happens in 2 weeks, and I can't wait. Bandit, though, I'm worried.
We still got to do Winter Soldier leading up to it.
We are. I think we're doing Winter Soldier next week, so I'm excited. Bandit,
Yeah,
I'm nervous. You're going to tear this movie to shreds, by the way. In terms of plot holes and character choices, you're going to tear this movie to shreds. But that's beyond the point. Just because
imagining,
you're going to
Bandit
nitpick the
walks
heck
out.
out of this thing. Yeah.
I'm thinking that Bandit walks out of the screening and just like halfway through his review, Warner Brothers just hands him a check. He's like, I love Civil War, it was great, all stood up and it was terrible and Spider-Man was bland and it needed more Martha. And it's literally halfway through the review. Civil War needs more Martha.
Like, you're talking about it, you're just like, oh man, and then Spider-Man, oh, that's some good peach tea. Anyways, the movie was awful, guys. I hate the movie. Yeah, it was...
Oh, goodness.
Oh man, yeah, but I loved it. You guys are gonna love it. The audience is going to love this. This movie needs to. I'm so excited for where this universe is going now. Good God, that's why I'm so excited for Doctor Strange. I'm just like, that's right. It's ready. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's essentially it's a TV show. So like this is like the start of like the final season 3 before they build up to Thanos. And okay, all right, guys. So let's that's all the homework. Let's get into the. Let's get to our feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, guys. So this is the feature presentation of we're talking the Jungle Book. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk we're gonna go non-spoilers for a couple of minutes, guys, just so we give our general thoughts here, and then we're just gonna go full spoilers because it's the Jungle Book. You've either seen
even
it or
though
you don't.
everyone knows the story, just for anyone, for that one person out there who hasn't heard of this story before.
For the person that's younger than me and still hasn't seen the movie, but somehow good job listening to the podcast. We won't ruin it for you, Billy. We got you. Okay, Bandit, what do you think of the Jungle Book?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I liked that. Oh, gee, let me.
What did you like?
It's fun. It's like
that Warner Brothers check just went right on his lap at that moment, and that was the pause. It's like, I hate a Jungle Book, but you should go see Pan. Pan was.
I hated Jungle Book. Oh, thanks. I mean, I hated that it ended because it was so good.
Just fake checks
Cha-ching.
coming from
There we
different directions.
No, I
Your
mean
review
it's
is
one of
being
those things.
auctioned
It's one of those movies where it's good. It's not like super amazing, but yeah, I liked it. I don't know. You shouldn't have started with me. I don't have my thoughts together this morning. What did you guys think?
Thought you go, Trilbee.
I think I liked it quite a bit more than both of you. Actually, I'm not. It's not perfect. It's not like a terrific, perfect, must-see, incredible thing. But I had a really good time watching it. I think technically, it's absolutely astounding. It's one of those films where I realized at one point that one of the monkeys, one of the small monkeys, looked pretty strange. It was like, that doesn't look quite right. But then I was thinking, wait, pretty much everything else in this frame is absolutely like amazing, and it's all made of CG. Like 99% of this is convincing and looks gorgeous on screen. The voice cast, Bill Murray, is just the epitome of Baloo.
Oh,
terrific.
Boy, was he was great.
And Christopher Walken as King Louis is as amazing as you think in this, but as the scene goes on and you realize just how insane this monkey is, you realize that Christopher Walken brings it to this role and how suitable he is on a thematic level, but we'll go spoilers to that a bit later. And I think that Neil Sethi as Mowgli, I'm not going to say he's like Jacob Tremblay room levels or anything, but he carried the film. I think he did a good job, but obviously the star of the show is the effects and the animal cast, and I think this is one of the rare movies that is better than the original. It's better than the 1967 animated musical, which was
I'd agree with you. Yeah,
it's a classic, but it's sort of like Alice in Wonderland, that it's not really a story, it's more a disjointed series of segments with like this is the animal of the scene, the animal of the episode, and so and so. Whereas I think Jungle Book tied it in a lot more, with the exception of Kaa, who shows up, spouts information that she should not really know, and then just goes away. But apart from that scene, and a couple of like other small elements. I think that the elephant should have got their song. Where was their song? Apart from that, I really did. I love this film a lot. I think it was really, really good.
Also,
Trey's going to crush my hopes and dreams like a giant orangutan foot.
I'm just winding up my hammer.
Also, this, like, apart from the elephant song, there was also in the original one, there's 4 vultures, which are basically the Beatles in the cartoon one.
Yes.
And since it was made in 1967, I guess people would get that reference, but they weren't in this one. So
And
if
if
you're
you
looking
want-
for the Beatles vultures,
One
they're not
Direction.
there.
It's like
If
One
you want-
Direction and Justin Bieber. It's just
If you want more music in this live-action version, stick through the credits. You get a full version of "Wanna Be Like You," and also something that's not even hinted at in the film. It's Scarlett Johansson recorded a version of "Trust in Me," and that's in the credits.
Oh, I didn't see that.
yeah.
Just stick around, and it's in the credits.
Okay.
My nephew said Scarlett Johansson's snake was his favourite bit, which
I
I
bet
did
it
not
was.
expect.
I
I
bet it
thought he
was.
liked the lube,
Standalone
but he's
scene.
like, no, I like the snake.
How old is your nephew?
10.
Yeah, I bet it was.
I've got to say, while we're talking about ages, there was a scene. I don't know how to go spoiler, but I've got to say this because it's so funny. There's a really intimidating scene with Idris Elba as Shere Khan.
Oh,
a
he
really
was great, wasn't
creepy
he?
scene. And during that scene, those of you who've seen the film will know what I'm talking about. A little 7 or 8 year old kid in my screening just went, "I want my mommy," and it was such a funny reaction.
Trilby, you
The
were
kids in my
Trilby.
screen.
You sat next. I didn't know you sat next to me in the theater. No, sorry.
Oh, we go to the same one.
Yeah, apparently,
the
man. In Greece, yeah.
the kids in my screening were lapping this movie up. They were sitting still. They were fine. They were laughing. They were enjoying. They were enraptured by this film. This is going to play to a younger audience like gangbusters. This is going to make a lot of money. This could be $1 billion film, I think.
Wow, really? You think so?
Well, Zootopia's nearly at like 900 million.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
stranger things have happened. Trey,
All right.
crush my hopes and dreams.
Now, okay. So here's the thing.
Traitor.
Before I get into
Traitor.
it, I can say that the open,
It's in your name.
okay, the opening shot, let alone, it's just a panning through the forest, and almost instantly, I completely forgot that this whole thing was shot in Los Angeles. So, the effects are just amazing for the most part. Yeah. There are certain parts, I think Bagheera looks great the entire time. There are certain times when Baloo is talking, I'm like, that's clearly a CG bear. But every time Shere Khan speaks, or Bagheera speaks, or King Louie speaks, I'm like, how'd they get a monkey to do that? Oh, wait. Like there are some times where I'm just like, how'd they get the monkeys to, how'd they get the panther to, oh, never mind. Everything about the effects and the voice acting is amazing. It's a shame that Neil Sethi as Mowgli, at some point throughout the film, I'm going to get some hate for this, reaches Anakin Skywalker level of bad acting. Yeah. I think there are certain points...
He's very whingy, isn't he?
He's really wooden. I think, every time you talk to some... he has the same kind of tone in his voice when he's talking to us during a sad scene with wolves, and at the same time when he's singing Bare Necessities. By the way, he ruined Bare Necessities for me, because Bill Murray's having the time of his life singing Bare Necessities, and this kid comes in just ruins the whole song. That being said... Oh my god, how amazing was Ka! Ka was the best part of this movie! Oh my god, she was so great! I feel like they cut her song from the actual movie because that scene was so creepy. There's a...
it was very
without giving
creepy.
too much away, they kind of foreshadow it when he's walking through the forest, and he trips, and he's like, what is that? And he picks up this giant snake skin, and my whole audience just went, oh god. Everyone just went like, oh man. Oh boy.
As the scene kept going on, it was like there was no end to this snake. How big is this thing?
It was so awesome. I love that scene. It's incredible.
Yeah,
and then,
she got to
Cheshire
Cheshire Cat level of weirdness there, didn't
yeah,
she?
Man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. She was ultimately the standout. And then her song at the end was great too. I loved it. She really felt like a female version. Is it Jim Cummings? Is it the voice of the snake in the original? I can't tell.
That sounds about right.
It was Winnie the Pooh, so I'm trying to get at. So whoever the original Winnie the Pooh was, it was that same guy as the snake.
It's Sterling Holloway.
Sorry, yeah,
I think Jim Cummings played Car in like the sequel because they made like a Jungle Book 2 in the 1990s.
That sounds about right. But yeah, but like that's who she really felt like a female version of that guy. Like I felt like I was watching that original scene, just with this minus the song. And granted, she probably shouldn't know things that she does know. Bill Murray as Baloo, perfect, really awesome. The entire time, I don't hibernate, but I nap a lot. I love that. I loved it. You know,
it's like this bear speaking my language.
Yeah, man, the bear. I'm like, oh hey, it's me. You know, it's like this really hulking mass of this thing is rolling around, eating honey all day, and just talking about, man, it's the easy life. You know, but. Come on, man. Christopher Walken is King Louie. You know who I am? I'm the king. The pow fruit, the way they sound when they hit the jungle floor. I was like, oh my god. He's the best. He's the best. He's so great. I really wish that every time something awesome like this was happening on screen, I wouldn't hear, but why? Well, what are you gonna do? I'm not afraid of you. Oh, but I don't wanna go. The bare necessities. Da 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 da.
I don't think it was that bad. Like, I'm not going to disagree with you entirely. I think he did well. There were times when Neil Sethi was clearly like looking at a tennis ball on a bit of string as opposed to an actual panther or a tiger or whatever. Because obviously he was. But I think in terms of young actors, for first time role, I think you could have done an awful lot worse, but you probably could have done a bit better. But I still think he's a good find.
I've gotten a lot of that. I've gotten a lot of like people defending the role of, not just you, Shelby. I'm not trying to attack you, but I've got like in my when I first tweeted out
Twitter, defend me.
When I first tweeted out my reaction, I'm like, I wasn't impressed, and they were just like, "What?" I thought the kid was weak. He's like, but he's acting against a CGI background. He's acting against a green screen. He's acting against he's his first time role. I'm like, I don't care.
Well, I will say, like, regardless of that kid's weaknesses as acting, like I think the characterization of like his version of the kid rather than the animated one is much better because the animated one is like the Panthers trying to take him to the human village because, again, this isn't spoilerish, the Panthers trying to take him to the human village because the tiger wants to kill him. But in the animated one, he's like, no, I don't want to stay. I don't want to leave the jungle. And he keeps running away. And it's like, dude, there's a tiger. Leave the jungle. And at least this kid was like, when the kid's separated from Baloo or whatever, he's still trying to get to the village because he understands that he needs to get
he kind of stumbles into things. Like he happens to meet Ka and he happens to get taken by monkeys. Things like just happen.
I think his character is a little bit better in that regard. But it's interesting because in the animated one, there's a big change to how this movie ends versus how that movie ends, which will come.
I think it's a better ending. But in regards to Shere Khan, like the only reason you remember him in the '60s version is because of George Sanders' voice. And that's really all that Shere Khan was in that film. Like, he had a great presence, but didn't do much.
He doesn't even show up until halfway through the animated movie. Like, they're mentioning, this Shere Khan, but he's not really a big part of it. Like, in this new version here, he's the Idris Elba Khan. He's a huge influence on the story.
I still think he needed one or two more scenes, but he was terrific. And Idris Elba, man, I'll never think of him the same way again. He was scary.
There's a scene, I won't give anything away, but there's a scene involving the wolf cub. And
that's the one where my kid cried.
Oh my god. Oh, well, that scene happened. I looked at my friend Christian and I said, I need more of this in the movie. And then what do we get right back to? But I don't want to go to the man village. I'm like, man.
I did like though that when they designed the different characters, with the exception of Ka, the giant anaconda, like they did make the faces look like the bear did look like Bill Murray.
Essentially,
Khan did look like Idris Elba, and boy, did King Louie look like Christopher Walken. He sure did.
Oh my god! Like he even had the blue eyes. I'm like, this is kind of uncomfortable. I think Christopher Walken is kind of a bit of an inspired cast, but I think it would have been great if you got some I'm not trying to go back into the whole race thing. I'm not saying it's racist that they got a white guy to play the actor, but in the 1960s version, King Louie definitely felt like a 1960s kind of jazz Louis Armstrong kind of swinging 60s black guy. And I don't know who they could get, but I feel like if they could have got an actor to play him like that, I really would have liked to have seen that in the modern take. Speaking of which, the songs all fell flat for me, except for certain parts of Be Like You. I think Ka's song was great to add to the end credits, but whenever King Louis starts to sing, it was very out of place. I was very taken aback. I'm like, oh, so it's a musical now. I really liked it.
I disagree because I generally hate musicals, but I think like this, they managed to work the songs in a way that didn't really infuriate me. So
I feel like it just came out of nowhere. I wasn't ready for it. So when he's just like,
Trey, I get what you mean completely. The uninitiated who don't know about the Jungle Book, who might not have watched it before, will be completely taken off guard by the random drive-by song.
Yeah.
But because you're sort of expecting it, this movie relies a lot on the nostalgia, I think, of knowing the source material, or at least knowing the animated film, not the book series from like the late 19th century or whenever it was.
They work bare necessities in like they start working the theme in like when like something people are, like jogging, like running through the forest, you know, you hear da 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 da, like they'll work the theme into the actual score before the actual song starts. But with King Louis' song, like he's talking to him, and I know you just hear I'm like, are we suddenly? I hear a musical number coming on. He's gonna start singing that note where it's like da 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 da. I don't know the song, so I'm not going to sing it.
Da, 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 da. That's my song.
I love your Christopher Walken.
Thank you. I've been working ever since I got the just because I love him in Catch Me If You Can. I think that's the first time I saw Christopher Walken movie.
To the moon.
Your father stuck his wash
Up my ass.
No, little man cub.
Did he give me the watch?
Gotta get that fire and shove it up my ass.
And then your father died of dysentery because, you know, he had fire up his ass. We have to stop. That's 3 in a row. We can't do it anymore. We can't.
Should we go into spoilers?
Let's go.
Just give me a second to put on like a sturdy jacket because my sides are going to split.
Oh, God. That was great. Good job, guys. Okay, wait. What do you give it out of 10 before we go into spoilers, guys? What do you give it out of 10?
Okay. I'd give it like a... I'd give it like a solid 7 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a good rating for me, by the way.
I know. Yeah.
I'm going to go against the grain, but true to myself. I'm going to go 9.
Okay. Wow, okay, cool.
I feel like this movie is a 9 minus Mowgli. And speaking of which, for everyone who might be offended that Bandit gave this movie a 7, he gave Force Awakens a 5. So let's not get too crazy about it.
Yeah, I gave Force Awakens a 7, and people are like, "Why was it not in your top 15 of all time?"
And I gave Force Awakens a 5. I can't remember that.
You said as a Star Wars movie, it gets a 5. I remember that. You can go back and look at the tape. Go back, watch episode 15 of our podcast.
I remember now. Yeah, I said as a standalone movie, it gets a 7, but as part of a bigger franchise, it gets a 5 because it's just a remake. That's right. Yeah, I remember now.
It's one of the best remakes of all time. Anyways, but my point is that
it is. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think I give it a 7.5 Jungle Book. Because, like I said, this movie gets a 9 minus Mowgli because everything else is really stand out except for maybe some pacing issues in the songs. But every time that kid speaks, it just like imagine like a trend chart, like a chart, and just like it's like, oh my god, this looks right all he's talking. Oh my god, it's all he's like just this constant like ebb and flow.
Actually, you know what? You're right. I think I'll change it to like an 8 out of 10.
Heyo.
Did you just argue him up with a negative?
I'm good at what I do.
This thing was terrible. Actually, it was better than I thought.
No, it's just because I'm like, I didn't think the kid was that bad.
The Disney check just came in. That's why. Like, you just had to knock on his door.
That's right. Yeah.
Mickey Mouse walks
in.
A
vulture just knocked at his window.
Just Michael Keaton chilling in the background.
Yeah, that vulture. I think you're in the wrong franchise, Michael. Shut up, I'm Batman.
Okay, that's right. So spoilers.
Spoilers.
Do you guys?
I love recording this podcast with you guys.
Oh, thank you. So if you guys want to get into it, you guys can go ahead with the spoilers.
Sure. Well, I gotta say, like, first of all, a big difference in the end of this movie as opposed to the animated one is at the end of the animated one, he has this confrontation with Shere Khan, and he defeats him because lightning strikes a tree and he grabs the branch of fire and ties it to the tiger's tail, and he freaks out and runs away because the fire's like chasing him. And then they're walking along, and they go past the human village, and the boy sees a young girl and is like, ooh. And the panther's like, go, go. And he's like, what is that? And Baloo's like, that's trouble, kid, don't worry. And Panther's like, no, go. And he just kind of follows this girl into the village, and that's the end of the story. And like
Puberty.
very different to in the jungle, the new Jungle Book, where the kid stays in the jungle and doesn't go into the
I
village.
liked it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a big change because in the animated, the Panther's sort of like, because Khan in the animated one is not so much of a driving force as in the new one. It's not so much we need to get you to the village to keep you safe. It's also we need to get you to the village because you need to be around your own people. Because like the Panther, when he's talking to Baloo, he says, "You wouldn't marry a panther, would you?" And he's like, "I don't know. A panther's never asked me." Ha! So he's basically saying that like the kid can't have a mate if he's in the jungle. He needs to like. So when he meets the girl at the end, so yeah, after seeing that animated one, when I look back on the new one of him being, I'm like, okay, he's king of the jungle, but he can't marry a panther.
No, but I think
Watch me. This is America.
What they're saying, Bandit doesn't like equality. No, but I think what they're setting up here is like, who's to say that still can't happen? He can still see a girl run after her. Sequel.
Yeah.
But I think like you said, they made Shere Khan a far more brutality and just menacing, just indestructible force of nature that he is in this one. So I think, it makes sense that
I love the bit where he walks right into the wolf thing.
Yes.
Because like before that scene, I was still like thinking to myself, I was like, probably the whole wolf pack could take him. But when he walks in there, I was like, no, they couldn't take him.
I love the sound of like the mom played by Lupita Nyong'o, who's fine, I guess. She really hasn't had a great role since 12 Years a Slave, by the way, Lupita Nyong'o. She's not impressed me since.
What are you on about? Her supporting part in Non-Stop, the Liam Neeson movie, was a real game changer.
The three lines she had in Nonstop, he's dangerous. No, but then that's beyond the point. When she's talking to the
That was kind of a fun movie too, by the way.
It was taken on a plane. I loved it. So
she was also
really
in
cool.
Star Wars. So
she was fine as Maz Kanata. That took me out of the movie. But anyways, my point is, when she's talking to that really adorable, cute wolf, I forgot the wolf's name, but that's just the best. And
Gray,
then
wasn't it?
Yeah. Great, yeah. And then you hear, the other wolves, the other pups up there, and you hear Shere Khan's voice, and you're just like, oh god. And he's up there, and he's just talking to the wolves and telling a story about the cuckoo bird, and how it gets the other birds to, the other bird to feed its young, and the other ones starve. And then she's like, she's telling the wolf puppies like to run along, and then Shere Khan puts his hand and stops one of the pups. And that was the first time in a long time in a Disney movie that I thought we're going to see a baby die. Because
you believe he would do it. Yeah.
Because he literally just chomps a wolf's neck and flings it off an edge. Like, he kills the dad. He's just like, he's like, you don't take me. I love he was just like a dad. Like, he's like, honey, stop jumping on the couch. And then, you take him down, and he beat the kid. It's like, nah, I told you to stop jumping on the couch. He's like, wolves, go kill that boy. No? And he goes and killed that. Now, I told you now. Now, I said to go kill that boy. You didn't take me seriously. And I love just how menacing. So when he stops that wolf pup, you think he's going to rip that, he's gonna eat that puppy alive. It was really great. I really
do you guys think it was necessary, though, for them to make it that Idris Elba was the one who killed the kid's dad? Do you think that was really necessary?
It made sense.
Yeah.
In its own context.
He needed to kill somebody, so,
Yeah, I mean, it's very Disney-like.
It would also explain why Mowgli was in the jungle.
Yeah, which is another thing that wasn't explained in the animated. Yeah. Like that whole waterhole scene, that wasn't in the animated either.
I loved it.
Yeah, so I think overall, the changes they made were much better. Made it a much better story.
One reason I rated the Jungle Book so highly was because it got maybe an hour in, and it was before King Louis showed up, and I thought, this is fun, but this is mainly just like the original, where it's just a disjointed set of scenes and everything that have a very loose narrative. But when King Louis showed up, and he kind of became the reflection of what Mowgli could be if the fire or the red flower corrupted him, and it was sort of when I realized what the movie was going for. It's kind of, and why he doesn't leave the jungle at the end, it's because the theme of the movie is what makes a man. Is it revenge? Is it that power? Is it that lust for power? Yeah. Which is what ultimately kills King Louis. Because doesn't kill because he comes back in the credits, but it's what made the castle collapse on him, because he wants power so much, he wants the red flower, that it ultimately like brings his entire empire down around him. And it's that decision that Mowgli makes to throw away the fire at the end, because he's not going to give in to that temptation. He's going to become a man his own way. And I think it's that improvement on the original source material and the animated film that really made me respect the Jungle Book a lot. And I think it's got a lot going on under the surface.
Yeah,
no, I feel like
he's getting
used. I feel like he's getting used fire sometime in his life, though. Like I feel like they really made it so that fire's bad, and I feel like. I don't know, maybe because they always talked about, doing these tricks, with Bagheera and whatnot. I feel like they should have found a way to balance out the good and bad of fire. Because I feel like Ka says that she's like, it's something that brought light and brought light and heat, but destruction in every way of its path. They really just kind of dropped the whole light and heat aspect. Like they really dropped the whole point of, because you see the man village, the humans, are surrounded by a campfire and they look all happy, but there's really like ominous music. And I'm just like, no, they look like they're thriving over there in that little village of theirs, trying to survive out in this scary jungle with giant 3,000 feet long snakes. So it's like, So I would have liked there maybe to like Mowgli, I don't know, not necessarily throw away the fire, but maybe he uses the fire in a contraption of his, and like he launches a little fireball, like catapult or something at Shere Khan, and he uses that to kill him or something.
Yeah,
I just feel
like a booby trap or something.
Yeah, where it just leaves him to burn. I feel like they should have portrayed fire in a different light than they did in the movie. I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's interesting that what Jungle Book reminded me in terms of Mowgli's character and how he's like an inventor and he uses his imagination to create these contraptions and these inventions. It reminded me of Big Hero 6 in that they sort of Disney are promoting like the use of science and using your mind and being creative, because that's what they've been doing recently. Like when Ant-Man was coming out, and this is actually a legitimate reason to bring up Ant-Man.
The Martian was a lot about that.
The Martian was 20th Century Fox, but
they
don't have to know that. They don't have to know that.
All that 20th Century Fox paycheck just arrived. Arrived by telepathy.
Hey, wait! I didn't get one. Ridley Scott, what's going on? No, I'm kidding.
I think it's because we called Ridley Scott a racist uncle earlier, so swings and roundabouts. But when it comes to Big Hero 6 and with Ant-Man, when Ant-Man came out, they were promoting getting young girls into science by giving them grants and having these competitions and getting kids into science, and that's a big thing for Disney right now.
Well, I mean, they're really trying to get behind the whole positive PR thing, with the female leads in Star Wars, and the female and black leads in Star Wars, the really positive
lead in Rogue One.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get. That's what I'm trying to get, there. Calm down, Bandit. Calm down. Yeah, calm down, man. Just easy. You sounded really offended by that. And the whole, the whole diversity and free to be your kind of who you are, whether you look what you look like or what species you are, kind of thing from Zootopia to this, now using scientific technology in a much better way than they do with Big Hero 6. God, I hate that movie. But that's whatever. That's neither here nor there. Yeah.
All of Baymax?
I love Baymax. It's a shame that everything else about that movie is really terrible, and there's really no character defining anything. Everyone's an archetype of themselves. There's one good scene involving Tadashi when he first builds Baymax, but besides that, the movie's just a bland piece of Wonder Bread that kind of looks cool, and it's kind of...
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your love for Big Hero 6?
A 5. A 5, but that's beyond my point. So I got a lot of crap for that like 2 years ago, but don't worry about it. That's the past. Don't even get me started on Frozen. Okay.
Ooh, you contrarian.
Bandit, do you have some notes on Jungle Book?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've noticed, some of the other reviews were saying about, some people were like, oh, yeah, the CG's good, but I like practical. And it's like, what do you mean practical? You want them to put the kid in there with an actual bear?
Go watch the old
I know
movie.
Trey would like that, but really, probably not a good idea.
Good. Feed him to the panther.
Come on, kid. You want to be a star?
Yes.
Cuddle up with that snake.
But this did kind of, the CG, I guess it was kind of similar to, the animals in Life of Pi, where they're CG, but they're still very, very lifelike. And it made me think, often, like, when people, like, talk about CG, it's kind of like a throw-off statement of, like, it's CG because it's lazy. But, like, when you look at CG now, it's like CG is, like, an art form in itself now. It's gotten to be really good where at times it is difficult to see. So, yeah, I'm really... I really like it.
Mad Max had a lot of CG in it. Like, there's a video out there, I think by, like, a film thing that's like, why CGI sucks except it doesn't, and they go through, like, CGI only sucks when you notice how much is in it. Like, there seems to be this, like, and we've been over this about the whole originality versus blockbuster thing, but we're not gonna get into that now. And Trilbee, since you made that joke, I'm missing out picture, like, it's like Pinocchio, like, when, like, they're all on the island, it's just, like... studio at Disney, and Mickey Mouse Hatch just like forcing this kid to cuddle with its panther. That's whatever. That's where my mind goes. But yeah, the CG is great, and Mad Max had a lot of CG in it. Like you look at all the backgrounds, and that's all CG. But that's whatever. That's neither here nor there. I think the CG is great, though. That's the best part of the movie is how great this movie looks. I'm really stoked for what they can do next. Honestly. If it wasn't so recent, if the voice actors weren't still alive, I'd be down for a live-action Lion King. And that's not just because, because me and Bandit have said before, remakes, whatever. I'm not really one to be against remakes because you still have the originals. So, but I think if Lion King came out like in the 70s or so, I'd be down for a live-action Lion King. I just think it's too soon because Matthew Broderick, James Earl Jones, Jeremy Irons, they're all still around, but I don't.
That's true. Also, with the Jungle Book compared to the Lion King, is that the Jungle Book does have this human figure at its center, whereas Lion King is entirely human, entirely animal.
But I think that's where this movie, like I said, the human aspect is where I think it feels the most.
In terms of making it look convincing in live action, when you have at least one live action element in this movie, you've got that to base it around. Whereas with Lion King, it would just be an entirely animated film.
That's essentially this movie. Well, this movie is essentially an animated movie. Like honestly, like I don't know how else to say. Like what is it? It's an animated film starring with one live. It's with one live. It's like when what's his face when in Roger Rabbit when he enters Toontown or whatever. It's essentially just that. It's on a very much more beautiful scale. Yeah. Any other notes, Bandit, or do you have anything else to say?
I was saying, like, I found it interesting that apart from King Louie, none of the other monkeys talked, even though every other animal in the jungle talked. That was kind of weird, wasn't it?
I felt like maybe
they animated too.
Maybe they do talk.
Yeah, is that because is that because King Louie is like the king of a bunch of animals that are kind of dumber? Or something? Is that what it was supposed to be?
I looked at it as like maybe they just didn't talk because they didn't want to like out of respect for King Louie because like if you go back and watch the original Jungle Book, like when King Louie's singing his song, he's doing like the hand trumpet and like one monkey comes behind him also does the hand trumpet and he quickly like swats him away in a really cool scene. But like the respect in this movie, it's like the mafia essentially. It's like a New York gangster. So like I feel like if someone spoke, it'd be like in Goodfellas. It's like you're really funny, King. Funny how? How am I funny? Am I gonna clown you? Am I gonna use you? And so it's just like once one monkey talks, no one else has to talk.
I think there's that bit though where the kid's eating some fruit before he runs into Kai, and those little monkeys come up, and I was like, why are they not talking to him? Everything else is talking to him. Maybe monkeys don't talk, but then King Louie obviously talks. So yeah, it just seemed like a weird anomaly to me.
He not only talks, he sings.
Especially considering that monkeys should probably speak more than any other animals in the forest, because like in the animated one, King Louie calls the kid cousin, because, kind of related sort of thing.
Yeah. Man cub. I love that. I love the way he said man. Man cub. I love the way he says that. That was so great.
The man cub is now a man. And I love that Baloo was like, don't take him to the human village, they'll make a man out of him.
Yeah. It's like, he told me there were some tigers. Shere Khan's after him. I love how the tone just changed. It's like, he didn't tell me Shere Khan was. I'm like, is there any other tigers in the jungle? We didn't see any other tiger besides Shere Khan.
There's Jeff down next to the other tree.
Yeah. Jeff
the
Khan.
tiger.
Jeff Khan, his cousin. Yeah. No.
Oh, we don't really talk about Jeff or invite him to the parties.
Yeah, we got dinner on Tuesday. Yeah, I got you.
But one of the notes, I just loved Baloo's characterization in this. Like he is basically a con man, a con bear, if you will.
Yeah.
At the beginning, and then he becomes this really endearing figure that the kids are gonna love. The moment where he leaps in to like defend Mowgli at the end, and he goes against Shere Khan and holds his ground. I think that's such a great moment for the character.
Yeah,
And then he just gets his ass handed to him.
Yeah,
as he should.
Typical Mary Sue. I love how I love when they're fighting. I love when they're talking. Like, as someone who grew up in the early 2000s, I went and saw the Bill Murray and Garfield movies. So now whenever he talks in a live action animal role kind of thing, I get Garfield flashbacks. So sometimes he'll be talking, and it's like, I'll get like a child of my time. It's like, what is it? Garfield. Yeah. Anyways,
Coming 2016 from Disney, Garfield in the Jungle.
Oh god. Garfield 3. Anyways, I guess we'll say this. I asked a poll on Twitter, and I said, I guess I should probably discuss this because I got a lot of replies. And I said, hey guys, Jungle Book was a success by Disney. This is the second success in their live action thing. Both this is the fourth or fifth financial success, but critically wise, it's also doing really well. So what you guys think? What should they do next? Beauty and the Beast or Lion King? And granted, I think it was like 70% said Beauty and the Beast, but I also got a lot of comments, people saying, actually, they're doing Beauty and the Beast next March. I'm like, I know! I completely forgot to mention that. I got like 4 or 5 comments of people just like, actually, they're doing, I'm like, so guys, I know. I know they're doing live action Beauty and the Beast next year with Emma Watson, Kevin Kline, I know. I'm aware, but that's whatever. So I guess I'll see you guys that. What should they do next? Since they're doing, I guess, exclude Beauty and the Beast or whatever. What should be next?
Question.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, let's
but
go.
They've got to make it as dark as the original animated film.
Oh my god!
It's got to be that dark.
Yeah, Open it with like this guy about to drown a baby. I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah.
I would.
I'm just imagining.
Yeah,
they take. They try to drown the baby, but then they take like the veil off or whatever, the baby blanket, and it's because Christopher Walken's head motion captured on this baby. Like, I'm the king of the hunchbacks.
Well, you know what? I actually wouldn't, even though it's been done a million times, I actually wouldn't mind seeing a live-action Wizard of Oz. I know a lot of people probably will be like, no, but I'd actually be okay with that.
Didn't we just get a live
Great and
action?
Powerful was awesome.
No,
yeah, that was kind of a sequel. No, that was prequel or whatever.
And it was crap. I would love to see. There's a classic story. It's a lot smaller story, but called The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this story. Have you guys heard of this story? Either of you? The Little Match Girl.
I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
Well, I'm going to tell the story right here in a very brief sense. Set on New Year's Eve, this girl who goes in around the Great Depression, goes and sells matches for a living, because this is back when people still didn't have a lot of electricity, still had like stoves and stuff or whatever. Anyways, it's set in one of those times. And it's New Year's Eve, so it's really cold outside, and this girl, she gets blocked by the snow, she can't make it home, she goes and hides in this alley. In which case, this is a major tangent, by the way, guys, so I apologize. But it follows this girl, and she has a couple of matches left, and when she lights up one of the matches, she's a giant extravagant stove in the fireplace in the alley, and she walks over to it, and she warms herself up, and she gets all happy and cheery, and then the match goes out, and everything disappears again, and she's back in this dark, cold alley. The second time, she sees she lights it up and she sees this giant, extravagant, huge, epic feast. It's like one like fit for like the starving girl that's over here in this alley. And just when she's about to take a bite of the food, the match blows away and all the food's gone. The third time, it's her last match. The rest are broken or frozen over. She lights this match and she sees her family, her awesome, really kind, welcoming New Year's Eve family, including her awesome grandmother. And she walks over, gives her grandmother a hug, and whoosh, the match goes out, and she dies at alone cold in the alley.
The happiest place on earth.
I'm just saying, I think like that's my favorite Hans Christian Andersen story. He also wrote The Little Mermaid and The Snow Queen, among others. And I think that if they're going to go, if they're doing what I think they're doing now and telling more of the darker versions of these kind of stories, especially with Jungle Book where things get really dark, I think they can do The Little Match Girl. I love that story so much. It was read to me when I was little. It was a bedtime story when I was little. So, I love that story. You can make it amusing.
In terms of Disney live-action animated films that they could do, I can't think of any that maybe that well, in terms of ones that they're not already currently developing, like they're doing Mulan, they're doing. They are, but they've not announced many people for it. They're doing a Pinocchio, and Robert Downey Jr. is also doing a Pinocchio.
Jennifer Lawrence as Mulan. I'm ready. Yep.
Oh god, that probably happened. There's Hercules, but then again, that's not really Disney's thing.
No one really likes
Pocahontas,
No.
Aladdin. But yeah, Aladdin. They announced that they were doing, but God knows what direction that's going in.
How are they going
Great
to do
Mouse
Aladdin without?
Every time I hear Pocahontas, I remember like this joke my friend said. He's like, you men are all the same, you Pocahontas.
What'd you just
What?
say?
Was that?
Pocahontas.
We're gonna stop there.
Every time I hear that now, I think of that joke. That's why I sneak.
I have no idea. I don't know what you're implying, but we're gonna move on.
Sword in the Stone. There we go. That's my answer.
Yeah, I'm down Merlin and whatnot. I'd rather see Mulan because I think Mulan can be better if they're doing Mulan. I know Tim Burton's doing Dumbo for some reason, but whatever.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be.
No,
he's gonna
ruin Dumbo.
I was gonna say he's gonna butcher Dumbo for this generation. I'm not. I'm not ready.
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children goes.
Tim Burton hasn't made a good movie since Sweeney Todd, and that was an R-rated, bloody, graphic movie. So he hasn't made a good family film in ages.
He's already doing another one of the Alice in Wonderland things.
Oh no, he's not doing that one. No.
Oh, isn't he?
No.
Oh, well,
it's from the Muppets director.
Okay, so that was Jungle Book, guys. Good discussion. Yeah. I think overall we all definitely enjoyed it. Some loved it more than others, but honestly, this gets me really excited to see where Disney can go next. 'Cause right now, Disney is on a roll. They are back in my good graces. So I'm ready. Okay. All right, guys. Listener questions.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
All right, guys. So this is the listener question portion of the show, in which we talk, on the Facebook page, I ask you guys to ask your listener questions. We will, and the best ones will get read on the show here. And yeah, so Bandit, do you want to start off with some questions?
I haven't had a chance to look at one yet, so
I have one
job.
Well then, yeah. All right. Well then, I have one here. Yeah. Okay. I just lost it. Sorry. Give me 30 seconds. I have it. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Seb.
As I could sit here doing nothing.
You sit here eating your nachos. One job. Seb PD. Oh, that makes great audio. Seb PD asks on Facebook. He says, "Will Disney ever have a lesbian princess?"
I don't think so.
They have
it's Disney.
Anna and Elsa.
They're
not just sisters.
Well, to be fair, they have incestual family in Star Wars. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. Like, I went to the house should have ended video. It's like, gross, we could be related. Never bothered me before. I love that. Anyways, I think they will. I think they'll go that far. I mean, there's already gay characters in the Star Wars universe, so I wouldn't put it past them. I'm not talking about Poe and Finn. I'm talking about in the actual comics.
Actually, tangent while we're on that.
Okay.
J.J. Abrams just recently, I think Chris Rock, when they were at something, he made a joke about like, I was going to ask who Rey's parents are. And J.J. Abrams was like, he was joking around. He's like, you can get out. But then he basically said that Rey's parents aren't going to be in episode 8, so he doesn't know.
Well, he said that he said her parents aren't in The Force Awakens, which I don't buy for a second. You know why? Well, he's not Khan. His name's John Harrison. I don't listen to J.J. Abrams until I see that movie. So,
but if he's telling the truth, that means she's not related to Luke,
which is very disappointing. Because,
but I did hear like I actually like the fan theory that, because you remember like apparently in an early version of the drafts there were going to be Vader clones.
Yes.
So someone said maybe Rey was supposed to be a Vader clone that accidentally turned out female for some reason. So Snoke is like, kill it! And then Kylo Ren's like, no, just discreetly dump her on Jakku. Because remember, there is that bit in Force Awakens where that guy comes into Kylo Ren and is like, oh, apparently there's a girl with, the droid. And then he grabs him with the Force. He's like, what girl? Like he knows about her.
I think that's because...
maybe Kylo Ren is the one who dropped her there, and she's a Vader clone, which would explain her Mary Sue-ness. Because little Anakin was a Mary Sue, because he had so many midichlorians.
we're gonna keep this in a very positive light. First of all, don't ever bring up midichlorians again on the Bloody Podcast. I'm making that a rule.
Does Trey have to
midichlorians.
force choke someone?
Yeah, he's forbidden. Let's stop talking. Oh no, he's choking on his food. I think Kylo Ren knows who Rey is because he knows that Luke Skywalker saved some girl, but he had no idea where she came from. The only reason he has no idea where he took her, and the only reason he didn't go after Rey in that very second is because he had to go find Luke Skywalker. That was his main goal. But I feel like the moment if he were to find Luke Skywalker, his next question would be like, "Where's that girl you dropped off?" So maybe it's because you see in her Force vision. What looks like the past, maybe she was there when Kylo Ren went and killed all the Jedi, and Luke was just like, "Oh God, I messed up." All right, girl, come here, girl.
But
Go on this
like
desert planet.
I like that idea better though. That if she's a clone, because that way she doesn't.
I hate that
she doesn't actually have parents. And if you're going to go with the boring thing that they're probably going to go with, that she's Luke's daughter, well then why the hell didn't he just leave her with Luke and Han? Wouldn't that have made more sense?
That's only boring because everyone else has set the idea. That wasn't boring back in August of last year. But anyways,
no, but literally everyone when they walked out of Force Awakens is like, "Oh yeah, she's probably Luke's daughter."
That's more J.J. Abrams' fault because they might as well have just been like when they walk up to Luke, it's just like she walks up and she's just like, "Hello, Father," and then just boom, end the movie. That's all you gotta say. It's end the movie right there. "Hello, Father." Da 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 da. That's all you gotta do. But it's like.
They should have done that. They should have at least revealed that if Kylo Ren is the one who dropped her, that he should have said that he's the one who left her there. But they didn't reveal any of that. See, look, Cracked, which is a good YouTube channel.
Oh my god, I hate that.
They just did a video recently about why J.J. Abrams' whole magic box thing doesn't work, and they're 100%.
No, that's not what the video was about. The video was called "Why He Doesn't Get Star Wars," which is not true. Which is not true.
Totally right. Because he's got that whole magic, but there's a mystery. We slowly unfold mystery. But it doesn't work, because they pointed out that Vader saying, "Luke, I'm your father," that's a surprise, because none of us expect it. But the whole problem with J.J. Abrams' whole magic box thing is we know there's going to be a reveal there, so we all start speculating, we all start fan theorizing. One of us is going to guess what it is, or what we guess is going to be way better than what they made, so you're setting yourself up to fail. It's better to not do the magic box and just do a surprise.
That's why I just couldn't give a single Ewok's poop who Rey's parents are, because the movie doesn't really seem to care about it. There's so little evidence in the movie as to who her parents could be that I'm not going to even bother speculating.
We don't know anything. We just know it's important for some reason.
Should not be called "Why J.J. Abrams Does Not Get Stars." That video should have been called "Why J.J. Abrams Shouldn't Make a Star Wars Movie." Because ultimately,
you're just angry because it proves even more that movie sucks.
I'm angry because J.J. Abrams gets Star Wars. He's a Star Wars fan. There's a reason they got him to make this movie because they wanted Force Awakens.
Because Brad Bird turned it down.
Yeah, they went to loads of other directors before J.J. Abrams, but everyone's like, "Oh no, I'm not touching that."
No, but
He's the one who was willing to do it. That's why he got the job. From the
get-go, they wanted Force Awakens to be a movie that was going to be similar to what we got before. I'm not saying it was going to be a straight-up remake, but I'm saying that, because Brad Bird makes movies that feels very retro in certain aspects. I feel like the reason they went to Brad Bird originally was because they wanted him to make a movie that felt like a 1977 Star Wars movie. And so I think with J.J. Abrams, coincidentally, all of his films feel like movies that he grew up with when he was watching as a kid, for better or for worse. So when you watch, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and it's essentially A New Hope remade, it's because I think that's what they're going for. But that's beyond the point. J.J. Abrams does get Star Wars. He's a massive Star Wars fan. However, the mystery box does not work because we all have probably figured it out by now. Or he just doesn't care.
It's one reason why 10 Cloverfield Lane was able to work as well as it did in terms of a mystery. I've not seen it yet, but I really want to know what is going on, because we only had like a 2-month marketing campaign as opposed to being built up for an entire year as to, is this Khan? Is this Khan? Is this Khan? It's Khan.
You'll love that movie, by the way.
Yeah, you're going to really
when you get a chance, you'll love it.
Don't listen to our podcast.
I still need to see. I have skipped over that bit. I still need to see Daredevil and Zootropolis, and I'm so behind, and it makes me sad.
You still haven't seen Zootopia? Dude, that movie's great.
I'm trying to see it. I just don't have the time.
Oh, it's okay.
Really making me sad.
I'm sorry. Again, but it's okay, Joe. Just understand that I've seen Civil War.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Obsessing over the weight of life's problems.
Well,
No,
anyway,
it's okay.
that was another tangent, but I just want to say, like, that's my new number one theory. I hope she's a Vader clone. That would explain so much, and it would fix so many problems with her character, so many problems about why she was dumped there. I think that's the best option they got now.
You just take your poison and you just move on with it, because there's a way. Like we're not going to get into this again. I'm so sick of Star Wars debates, Bandit. So we're ending. So I'm going to move to answer Said PD's question. I think Disney will.
Sorry, Said PD. We got to.
I will think that Disney will have a lesbian princess sometime throughout the year, because
that's what we were talking about.
I think Disney's ready to make that next step forward. And if right now being gay is the cool thing to be, then they're going to do it, because that's what gives people money these days. Disney, when you break it down, they are a business, and if right now it is business sense to have gay characters, and they're going to have gay characters.
But isn't it? So, yeah, but it's like, I'm sorry to bring it back to Star Wars again, but isn't it the same as like we were talking about if they made Finn and Poe a couple? And I was like, you can do that. Like there's been Disney movies before with sort of hinted gay characters in them, but I don't think you should have like an overtly in your face that yes, they definitely are gay, because little kids don't understand that. You know,
it doesn't necessarily have to
for little
be in
kids,
your
and
face.
it's just going to confuse a lot of them. They're not old enough to understand that yet.
Well, I think first of all, you are what you're saying is what a lot of people like to mention. We talk about this with Utopia. Oh, it can be stupid. It's just for kids. I think that if you have a gay character, I'm not saying making your face. I'm not saying be like, look how awesome we are because we're gay. I'm just saying have a relationship between two male or female characters. I'm not saying make it the main plot of the movie. I'm just saying have it be like the romance is between a man and a woman, is a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or whatever.
Yeah, but I think they should, if they want to do it, if it's a movie meant for kids, they should at least do it in a way where the kids will look at it and go, oh, they're just friends. Otherwise they're just going to be really confused.
So. Well, because
don't draw attention to it.
Well,
yeah, like you don't need to. It's like. This is weird. It's like
if you say if you were to say if before Zootopia came out, if you were to say, okay guys, can Disney do a movie about racism and make it good? I feel like a lot of people would be like, no, because kids don't really need to worry about that. But I feel like kids do, because we're in an age now where kids are so impressionable by what they watch that you need to teach them at a very young age that it's okay to like people no matter what they look like, no matter who they are, no matter what they are. And I feel like right now Disney is they're in the Inside Out taught kids about emotion. I feel like right now this is the proper point to where you can have kids be taught that same-sex relationships are perfectly fine. In the same way that people are going to look at.
But then you're going to get if you like a very directly and deliberately teaching that, then you're going to have all the political stuff comes. You're going to get people protesting the movie, and that's not what Disney movies should be about.
Who gives a heck? I mean,
I do, because
it's bloody legal now.
Well, so what? Disney movies are not supposed to be about pushing a political agenda. They're supposed to be about entertaining kids.
They don't have to
save
push
the political
an agenda.
stuff for the movies intended for an older audience.
They don't have to push an agenda to have a same-sex relationship.
Yeah, just make it discreet enough to the side. That's.
Oh yeah, like Modern Family. Where
I don't want to have a conversation with my nephew explaining what gay sex is. I don't want to do that.
They're not going to have gay sex in a Disney movie. No, the most they're probably going to do is maybe a kiss, maybe hand holding. That's literally as far as it's going to go. It'll just be the same gender.
In the same way, like the hero kisses the girl at the end of the movie, like right before, like in Captain America when he goes off and Peggy Carter kisses him, an 11-year-old boy is going to be like, ew, they kiss, or a kid's going to be like, ew, they kiss, but. Exactly, but instead of just having it be a girl, have it be a man, or have it be a woman and a woman. And that doesn't necessarily have to. I don't want it to be because Modern Family had this problem for a long time. I love that show. And so Modern Family, but for a long time, they refused to have the two gay characters kiss on screen. The first time they did it was in the very background. It was faded out, and it really bothered me. And so they made up for it by having the entire finale of the season be all about that wedding. And so I feel like we are in an age now where kids need to be exposed to that. You don't have to tell your nephew what gay sex is, no. But maybe if your nephew's like, Uncle Bandit, what's gay mean? You just be like, oh, it's when
why is the kid Christopher Walken? What's gay?
Look, Yeah, look, I got no problem with people pushing their view of the world, in whatever form they choose to preach. I just don't want preaching in my Disney movies, no matter what side that preaching is taking.
I understand what you mean, Bandit. I just think that it doesn't need to be preaching. It just needs to maybe just exist. You don't draw attention to it. Don't make the story about
have it in there. Just
relationship.
have it off to the side so that kids that are too young to understand, they'll just be like, oh, they're just friends. I'm fine with that, but I just don't want.
So you're saying that you don't want there to be say that you don't want the love and.
There's a time and a place for everything, and I don't think Disney movies for the very young is a place to start teaching about sexual orientation. Okay?
If the story is about a guy...
Have it as a subtext so that when they're older they can look at it and go, oh, I get it, but, don't... Yeah.
If the story is about a guy who's trying to save the world as this generic movie, but instead of the love interest being a woman and as a man, is that you're saying that is an issue for it to be a Disney movie? I don't think that's preachy. Preachy is then being like, it's awesome because he's gay. Preaching's like when in a movie when they're just like, but you're a woman, and then woman does something impossible and it's like, oh, you're impressive for a woman. I feel like what they should do, Trilbee. Well, I like what Trilbee is saying, this have it just kind of exist in the world. Yeah, I do not like what Bandit is saying.
That's the thing. It really depends on how it's handled as to whether it's preachy or not, which is why I think just stay away from it. That's not what Disney is supposed to be about.
I think that if kids left that movie saying, oh, those two are just friends, then I think it might have missed the point. You still want to emphasize that they are romantically attracted. It is a touchy subject, but
that's what being gay means. Being gay
what's wrong with leaving that for, there's a time and a place for everything,
I think it's to teach them at a young age.
I don't think that's the time or the place to have it.
I think at this point you need to expose your kid very early on that being gay is absolutely okay, lest they hear other things while they're in school and have that, because kids are so impressionable at a very young age. And I think Disney's smart enough now to
So you got to indoctrinate them into your way of thinking early. Who cares?
No,
what their family might want. We need to brainwolf them to what we want. It sounds like that's what you're saying.
Bandit. Now I don't want to. Now
why
we're not
not just
get
have Disney just being entertained like the Jungle Book? Why does everything has to have an agenda?
The Jumble Book. Okay. Anyways, but
the Jumble Book. I turned into Christopher Walken there.
One hurdle that Disney would have to overcome for that would be last year there was that Nicholas Sparks film, The Longest Ride. This is going somewhere, and you had Britt Robertson and Clint Eastwood's son, and it was a romance film. The two had mostly full frontal nudity, and they were having sex on screen. It was a PG-13. We also had a movie called Love is Strange, which had Alfred Molina and John Lithgow in a same-sex relationship. And the most explicit thing they did was hug, fully clothed in a bunk bed, and it's as adorable as it sounds. And that movie got rated R, just because it was a same-sex relationship. We have got a lot of progress and there was no more than The Longest Ride. It was the only thing different was the fact that it was a same-sex relationship between two men as opposed to a heterosexual full-on sex romance and everything in this other movie. So in terms of ratings and stuff, we've still got a bit of a way to go, but I still think that how many Disney animated films have there been with romances? Hundreds of them. Almost all of them have been straight heterosexual ones. Why not make one? Just one with a subtle same-sex relationship. They don't have to snog on screen. They don't have to make it all about that. It can literally just be the plot of Frozen. Just replace Kristoff with Christine. And there we go. Same movie. Same movie.
Thank you. That's exactly that's what I'm talking about, though. That's but imagine if you replaced it with Christine, and then they just shoved Christine to the side because they didn't want to show that and show off their agenda. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Bandit. I'm just saying there's a way to do this without there having to be an agenda. Just simply present the idea of same-sex relationships to young children, and whether that's right or wrong, just present the idea at least. I think
And if you don't want your kids to watch it, don't let them watch it.
I'm just against people trying to push their beliefs on other people, especially very young people, regardless of what those beliefs are. And I don't think it's something Disney should do.
Well, then let them keep watching their Christian films, because God Not Dead 2 made a lot of money. So, whatever.
Yeah. But what's wrong with the belief that these people exist, and we should acknowledge that? I don't really think that's much of an agenda, but that is a can of worms.
Well, look, to move away from the gay thing, I once tried to, I had to explain to a kid what 9/11 was. And
Bandit. Come on.
I didn't. It just. Well, it's because the news was talking about 9/11 and all this.
Okay.
And the kid's like, "What is that?" So I was trying to explain it. She just didn't understand, and like
You
at
can't
a certain
explain
age,
9/11 to
at a
a
certain
kid.
age, your mind just can't process certain things.
That's
and I
a
think
very
gay
different
stuff is-
subject.
but it's
9/11 and being gay are complete.
I know, I'm just
3,000
talking about there's certain adult
No.
subjects that you can't grasp when you're a kid. And even though I know terrorism and being gay is a bad comparison, they're both adult subjects in that same way.
No, I
that
get
certain
what
kids
you
can't
mean.
understand at a young age, so I don't want it in my Disney
I
movies.
was 9 years old when my sister came out as gay, and I completely
well,
understood
good
it.
for you,
and
but not everyone is like you.
No, but
Sorry.
that's absolutely fair, Bandit. I get what you mean. It's just, but if as long as you know that that's relationships in the movie beforehand, then maybe don't let your kids watch it, or
Yeah.
maybe
I
wait
mean,
until they're
I'm
older.
okay with like in Star Wars, there's all that incestual stuff, but it's there in such a way that you don't notice it as a kid.
So why are
It's
they
only
trying
when
to
you get
promote
older.
that incestuous agenda?
I know,
Lucas.
but I'm just saying, like, if they want to put gay stuff in, but it's sort of in that same way that the young minds who can't process it don't notice it anyway, then I'm fine with it.
One thing I noticed
I
about
just
The
don't
Force
want
Awakens
Disney
while
making
whilst we were watching
Brokeback
it, while I watched, we watched Force Awakens the other day, and I realised that you could hypothetically pair up every main character romantically, regardless of gender.
I'm down.
Poe and Finn, Poe and Rey, Rey and Finn. It's all
Leia
three.
BB-8. Leia and BB-8. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Oh, so many
All right.
balls.
Trilby. Trilby. Talk about
Too
same-sex
far.
relationships. No, but it's like, okay, Bandit, I see where you're coming from. There's clearly not a place of malice or prejudice between you. I understand what you're trying to say. I guess this is all what you consider gay, what you consider an adult subject. I think it's better to have kids exposed to being gay at a very young age. You don't, that's fine. You just started a war, a civil war. Don't worry about it. Next question. We good?
But I look forward to the out of context comments saying Bandit thinks that being gay is worse than 9/11.
No.
Yep.
I'm not saying that.
can't
No,
I'm
say-
look,
saying
it's
out
just
of
I'm just saying there's a
context, out of
time and a
context.
place for everything, and I don't think Disney movies for the very young is the time or the place to be pushing any
I
kind
feel
of
like
agenda, no matter what it is.
Well, then Zootopia shouldn't be a thing because the agenda that you're talking about they push is very subtle in how they present racism.
Well, the
and
agenda in
prejudice.
that is don't hate people. I don't think that's
the
really
agenda
all
is that
bad.
don't hate people that are different than you is what they're trying to get at there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, but that's essentially what racism and prejudice is. It's like hating people because they're different from you, and they're telling kids not to do that. So if like in say 5 years you do a movie about Princess Diana, not Diana, that's taken, Princess Lucille, and Princess Lucille happens to have a very good friend that becomes her girlfriend named Janet. And that's all you have to do, and they don't make it the main story. Just be like, oh man, Janet's kidnapped. I gotta go save Janet. Janet's, it's whatever. Just it's the same thing. Like if the prince was named Larry, and they had to go save Janet. I think kids need to be.
There is a
exposed
propensity, there is like an inclination in media that when you have a gay character, being gay is their only attribute. It's their only characteristic, and obviously you shouldn't do that. Like, because a person's sexuality, while it can be very important to them, is not their sole defining characteristic. If you've done that, that's a badly written character. And
Yes.
so if you were to write a character like that in a Disney film or any movie, or like live action Disney or animated, then you've done a bad job. Just make it a part of their character, but not the part. Just don't revolve the plot around it. Just don't. That would be a way to at least introduce younger audiences to the concept, as opposed to shoving it in their face. Like, if you have a scene where, I don't know, Christoph or Christine and Anna are going, oh, we're going to do explicit stuff in the back room in the hot tub with that potentially gay guy. Then
you can see his family. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If we're going to be doing that, then don't bother, because you've done it wrong, and obviously that would be an awkward discussion to have in the cinema lobby. This was an interesting discussion, wasn't it?
Sorry, I muted my mic because I was moving my chair around.
I've learned a lot
it's
about
alright.
you. I'm very happy we had this conversation. Wow, it's very interesting to know how your mind works. I'm actually really excited.
Can't we all just get along?
No, this is the internet, my friend. No one gets along on the internet. Panda, do you have another question? Thank you for the questions.
Yep,
Great.
There's one here from Sebastian Archer that says, "Is the Bond franchise a good franchise? as in looking at it from an entirety perspective view on the quality of each of the films. Would you say overall, Trilby, as the Brit here? Yeah. I just figured since James Bond is British, even though he's been played by non-British people way too many times to be a British.
Yeah, me and Bond, we're on the up and up. He lives down the road from me.
Yeah.
Old Jimmy and I are going to have dinner on Tuesday, yes.
Would you say would you say that the Bond franchise overall is a good franchise, or that it's got way too many turkeys?
A classic stereotype. Oh, it's the British guy. Surely he knows the Queen. Have you met the Queen? What's Princess Anne like? Well, for the record, she eats with her mouth open. It's really distracting. But
okay, I'll answer.
As for James Bond, I think it's a cultural, it's an institution first, and we kind of ignore the films. Like if you ask like somebody in the UK, what do you think of Bond? They'll be like, oh, I love Bond. It's terrific. Oh, great. What do you think of Diamonds Are Forever? Oh, never seen it. I've never seen any of these films. That's basically the British population. But I think really it's currently we're at the peak of James Bond with Spectre and Skyfall. The Daniel Craig era is really where it's got the most exposure in terms of the UK. Yeah. And it's one of those things, because 2012 was a massive year for Bond. It was the 50th anniversary. He was at the Olympics, and we had Skyfall. It was basically the Olympics are why Bond was $1 billion franchise that year. He's more of an institution as opposed to a character, if that makes sense. So, as a franchise as a whole, he's a massive success and a massive institution, but the films, you kind of got to judge them on their own merits. There's some really bad ones, there's some really good ones, and there's ones in between.
Well, the way I look at it, it's like it depends on what you think of, what you constitute as a good movie. If you want a cheesy 60s kind of terrible but fun movie, then you will get a lot of that with the later Connerys. Like, You Only Live Twice, I think, is the prime example of a good James Bond movie in terms of, the classic Bond gadgets and the weird, almost Wes Anderson-esque kind of style of editing and action. They definitely get better as they go along for a bit. I really like Live and Let Die. I really like Spy Who Loved Me. I really love Goldfinger, surprisingly enough. But I think, the early Connerys are really good. And you can break it up into eras, I guess. The Roger Moore films, for the most part, are pretty terrible. There's Moonraker and Octopussy and You Only Live Twice, For Your Eyes Only. And then I like the Dalton ones. I really like License to Kill because it got really dark. And then the Brosnan ones. I'm the only person I know that doesn't like GoldenEye, so I don't know. I feel like, and then of course Casino Royale's great. And then I don't hate Quantum of Solace. I know Bandit, and then I really love Skyfall. I know Bandit doesn't, and then I really hated Spectre. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Bond sort of brand, if we want to call it that, it's the kind of thing where it's bigger than the sum of its parts. It's the Bond brand sort of extends beyond any of the individual movies or even the whole franchise itself, because it spawned that whole type of genre of spy films. Austin Powers exists because of Bond, the Kingsman movie and the new one that's coming up soon. All of these exist because of Bond. So, I mean, I think something that's had such a big impact, like Indiana Jones was basically made because Steven Spielberg couldn't make a Bond movie, so created Indiana Jones, who's pretty similar. So, I don't know how... When you look at the impact it's had overall, I think, you'd have to say it's a good movie. Even though it's not a good movie, the Bond franchise is a good thing because it's inspired all these other things.
It's like the Batman franchise. It's like saying, is the Batman franchise good? Well, yeah, but it has some stinkers in there, of course.
Yeah,
but
Star
look
Trek or something.
Exactly.
Star Trek's had a big impact, even though every second movie sucks.
I thought it was every third movie. I thought it was every.
Well, it changed once the Abraham movies came in, but it was every odd, even one was bad. Yeah. Before
2,
1,
4,
3, 5 were all bad.
Apparently 2, 4, and 6 are great, which I think 4 might be my favorite. I love Wrath of Khan, but the whales.
There be whales here.
Yeah.
Transparent aluminum.
I think I haven't seen any of the next gen stuff, which I probably should have, but I think I've missed the boat on those. And besides, Star Trek sucks now, anyways. But
Bond is the type of franchise that almost single-handedly keeps the careers of location scouts and stuntmen going. Like, because the amount of stunts and the amount of locations they go to, basically that's like a dream job, isn't it? Location scouting on a Bond film. That would be just the most superb, because travel the world and get paid for doing it and just finding all these gorgeous places to film in, that would, because it's more of a walking tour of James Bond's life for 50 years as opposed to an actual franchise, isn't it?
With the exception of like Die Another Day, I think at least most Bond, like almost all the Bond films, have at least one really cool moment in it. Like even Spectre, for all its really mediocre and dull and boring glory, has a really extravagant opening tracking shot that I think was just breathtaking. I love the opening scene of Spectre. You know, even if Bandit doesn't like Skyfall, I'm sure he has things he likes in Skyfall. At least you can. I hopefully, God, I hope so.
What's wrong with Die Another Day? Didn't you like the giant laser in the Arctic, the invisible car,
the windsurfing down there?
Yeah,
down the tunnel
in front of an obvious green screen.
The guy with the diamonds in his face.
Who we'll call Diamond Face from here on out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone's just agreed we call him Diamond Face. Yeah.
Diamond Face. Yeah, but that's a good question, guys. I have one here. Okay. I just lost it. Gosh darn it. Let's see. Where'd it go? All right, here it is. Okay.
That's in my head now. Sorry.
We'll do a couple of more here because I think Chilbini probably needs to go soon. Brady Doob.
It's only 2:00 in the morning.
After the controversial, after the controversial Walking Dead season finale, I was wondering your opinion on cliffhanger endings. Do you think they can be done well, or should they be avoided at all cost?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was reading another question. So.
Really?
Well done.
Sorry, Trey.
All right. Well, he asked about cliffhangers and about since The Walking Dead happened, can they be done well? Should they be avoided at all cost? That's why I was asking you, Bandit. Should we avoid cliffhangers?
Well, I think for me, the point of a cliffhanger is supposed to be they hold off on giving you the reveal, but they know what it's going to be. I think the problem with that last Negan of last one in Walking Dead with which one did Negan kill was I don't think even they know who it's going to be.
Don't.
In which case, that's a bad cliffhanger because it's not a cliffhanger. It's a cop-out.
Like we said in our side video we did, which thank you guys all for watching. We said that AMC they didn't have an actual person get their head. Of course they didn't have they didn't have like an actual prop that looked like a person. It was just a prop with like blood and meat on it that just kind of got bashed in, and like they don't like. And I think Chandler Riggs was the guy who plays Carl. Says even I don't know who got their head bashed in. So I'm just like, okay, so they don't know. So clearly there's no. Anyways, all right. I think the whole point of a cliffhanger
that's not a cliffhanger. That's just a cop out.
Yes, the whole point of a cliffhanger to me is that they are holding off for something bigger. Like they are teasing off like The Force Awakens. I think has a great literal cliffhanger because they are teasing after getting one of the best remakes of all time with some really intriguing characters. Maybe granted, some be too powerful, but whatever. And after getting a really great reintroduction to this world, they are now teasing something bigger, something greater with Luke Skywalker now returning to the story. That's a great cliffhanger. Empire Strikes Back works because we are teasing the next adventure. We are teasing everything's dreary, everything's lost, everything's over. We are now teasing what's going to happen next. Granted, it was Return of the Jedi. But I think the best cliffhanger kind of has to be either Back to the Future 1 or 2. I mean, right, guys? I mean, come on, man. I love that. I love Back to the Future 2's ending, man. I love that ending. Oh, my God. Like he goes through time and you see Marty run around on the street. I love that ending. 1885! Yeah, I love it. It was great.
You should only ever do a cliffhanger if you have the second series or the second movie or whatever in the bag.
Yes.
Because I've had so many cliffhangers... Never see a resolution. Well, Incredibles is just more of an open ending, whereas something like the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series, that is a cliffhanger that will never, ever be resolved. Shenmue 2, the Dreamcast video game, that cliffhanger has been unresolved for almost like 20 years. that is a cliffhanger that we'll probably never see a proper resolution to. I know there's a kickstarted video game, but like God knows what's going to happen with that.
I'm going to disagree with you on the whole Incredibles thing, by the way, but we'll get to that. Later.
Okay, well, fair enough. But I think that The Incredibles 2 is not going to tell us what happened with that incredible battle with the Underminer. But
it teases that we're going to get the next adventure pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. But cliffhangers done right, like Back to the Future 2 and 3, and also, say what you will about the movies, the cliffhanger worked. The Barbossa cliffhanger from Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3.
Oh, that was great. I love
that. They filmed those movies back to back. Barbossa shows up at the end, you know you're getting the next movie in a year's time, as opposed to, say, doing a cliffhanger just on the off chance that you think, oh, maybe if we do a cliffhanger, we might get a second film, we might get a second series, and it never happens. As a Doctor Who viewer, almost every single episode ends with a cliffhanger from the classic series. Some of them are the worst cliffhangers you will ever watch. There's one story where the Doctor walks into a room, literally dangles off the edge of a cliff, and that's the cliffhanger. He just does it for no reason other than the fact that we need a cliffhanger.
The Hobbit movies have great cliffhangers. Like, as much as I may not like some of those Hobbit movies, I love those cliffhangers, man. Like in the first movie, you see Smaug wake up, you're like, oh man. But I don't think I've never been more mad in a movie theater than when I saw Desolation of Smaug. And the dragon gets out, and he's like, I'm fire, I'm death, bye. Bilbo's just like, what have we done? Credits. I was so mad.
That's
I was
a wonderful cliffhanger.
I love that movie. I really enjoyed that movie.
It came out the same time around Hunger Games Catching Fire, and that cliffhanger was lame as hell, because it was basically, oh, what's happened? Oh, this thing happened off screen to a bunch of characters we've never seen, and we don't care about. Ooh, and that's the cliffhanger. Whereas with Desolation of Smaug, that is a wonderful cliffhanger.
I love that. The Hobbit movies get so much crap. I think Desolation of Smaug is a legitimately good movie. I think it's one of the better entries in the Middle Earth franchise at all. But that's beyond the point. But yeah,
he says, "What have we done?" And then the Ed Sheeran music kicks in and sends shivers up the spine.
Yeah,
man, that was so great. I love that movie.
Yeah, but it's definitely like it's hard because it's hard to think of movies with good cliffhangers because it's definitely more of a TV kind of thing, isn't it?
I've heard this only through osmosis, but apparently the Next Generation, the Star Trek show, that's a pretty great
cliffhanger. What I was thinking, Mr. Worf, fire. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, like this cuts to black. Yeah, I mean, TV. Like, there's this show on CBS called Person of Interest that no one watches anymore. But that first season had a really great cliffhanger. That if you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. Lost is probably the king of cliffhangers.
I mean, that series one cliffhanger.
First episode, I think.
I think they, as well as Walking Dead, both overuse the cliffhanger though, and there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. You know, so that's probably also a key with using the cliffhanger. Don't use it too much.
That season 3
using a hammer is great, but you don't use a hammer to try to saw a log in half. It's like a tool in your story-making toolbox.
The season 3 ending of Lost, though, we have to go back. I remember because I watched the show later. Of course, I caught it on Netflix, and I remember I watched season 3 and I was just like, "What?" I was freaking out. Yeah, it was great. I was like, "No way!" But whatever. Yeah.
But Trey, if you consider the end of The Incredibles to be a cliffhanger, do you consider the ending of The Dark Knight to be a cliffhanger? Because I think it's on the same vein.
I think the ending of The Dark Knight is a cliffhanger in the sense of we have no idea where Batman's going next. And in terms of Batman goes off, like Batman literally rides off into the sunset. In my opinion, one of the greatest shots in movie history. But like Batman, and that's a cliffhanger. I think The Incredibles is more a cliffhanger of like, okay, we are now about to enter the next chapter. In terms of like I said, cliffhanger, it teases you to what is about to happen next.
Yeah.
And so we are now about to see the next chapter in the Incredibles story. And it's a great ending. So like when the movie, the Underminer comes in, they all have their masks on, he opens up the shirt, movie's over. I think what constitutes a cliffhanger is when my dad sees the end of the movie. I bring him up a lot now, but like when my dad sees a movie and he's just like, "Oh, there's got to be another one." That's when I'm like, "Oh, that's a cliffhanger." Then, because my dad, who never goes to the movies, he's like 5 a year. He's like, "Oh, there's got to be another one." My dad didn't say that with Batman v Superman, by the way. That's not a cliffhanger. That's just a stupid ending. So I'm just saying.
But you saw the dirt rise. Isn't that interesting? No, it isn't.
Or like at the end of X-Men 3 when he makes the chess piece shake.
Yes, that's a stupid cliffhanger as well.
I actually thought that was kind of good.
Civil War has a great cliffhanger ending.
Oh,
so,
Trey, there's the 20th Century Fox check on Neil up again. Oh, no, Bandit, there's the 20th Century Fox check again.
X-Men 3 was really good. Cha-ching!
We're just going to have stacks of paper like on our laptop screens by the end of this podcast.
Wolverine Origins wasn't terrible. All right.
And I'm sure Apocalypse will also be great. Oh, wow, there's a truckload of money has just driven up at my house.
Scrooge McDuck pile.
I don't hate Jennifer Lawrence. Oh, wait, that's not enough. Sorry. Okay. Do you have any other? One more question here? Or do you think we can close it off here?
I had one, but then I realized we already covered it last time. So we can wrap up.
Sorry to spend so much time, guys, on that whole lesbian princess thing, but I feel like it was something that needed to be discussed on the show because you've never really covered.
You can never spend too much time talking about lesbian princesses.
Hey, you're telling me, Trilbee. And with that, we close off this episode. Thank you all for watching so much. Like and subscribe, all that wonderful jazz. Join us. Thank you for this good talk on Jungle Book and lesbian princesses. Trilbee, where can people find you?
I'm just thinking of Scott Pilgrim. The L word. Lesbian. Yeah. The other L word. Lesbians.
Back of that knee. Back to the knee.
You can find me watching Scott Pilgrim vs. the World for the 100th time on Twitter at Trilbee Reviews, on YouTube at Trilbee Reviews, and on Facebook at Mr. TARDIS Reviews, where I do some TV stuff. I'm going to be getting more regular content back up now that I've finished my latest TV job. And you can also find me on my own website at www.trilbee.com. So yeah, and you can also find me here on Movie Mania, which this is just so much fun at 2:00 in the morning. Love you guys.
Hey, is there any news on Film Brits? Because you said they were coming back soon.
Yes, that is coming back. That is going to be making a comeback. The reason the episodes aren't on SoundCloud right now is because I didn't pay my monthly subscription thing, and because of that, they took down all of the episodes that were uploaded during that subscription period, which I think is a really, really underhanded move. Very unfair. But they will be coming back up soon.
Okay. So do you have to re-upload everyone?
No, once I start paying, they'll be back up live again.
Oh, that's good, because I don't
so basically, hypothetically,
right.
if I died tomorrow and didn't pay the SoundCloud thing, you'd never hear those episodes on SoundCloud again. Which is a very annoying thing. Like, if I died and with the subscription that kept on going on, I'd have to maintain that subscription if those podcasts wanted to stay on SoundCloud. Like, what? What? I don't know.
Sure.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Bandit, where can people find you?
The people can find me on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter as Bandit Incorporated.
Yeah, alright, yeah. And they can find me. Don't try. No, it's fine, man. All right, and they can find me. The Force Awakens is now on Blu-ray, so they're gonna find me painstakingly going through each frame trying to find Jar Jar's bones in the sand. They can find me on the YouTube's, Twitters, Finstagram, the YouTube, Twitters, Instagrams, and Facebook, all at either Trey White or Podcast Media. Join us all next week when we talk Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and it's pretty awesome glory compared to Civil War. Thank you all for watching our Movie Maniacs.